6.
Yeah, that one to me is a pass. But I like Ram. I like Chilean Nightmare for sure. All right, let's go, guys. Thank you so much, Brendo, Neil. Thanks, Adara. Thanks, Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Today was another day and another one that ends in Y. Join us later on. Right now, it's Options Assassin as well. Over to my left, guys. Let's go. Good day.
Go get them.
Yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey Options. And I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to weasel on over from the other stream. Shout out to Nimit. I do find the poll interesting, Nimit. You can thank the Chilean Nightmare for being that creative. He's coming up with all sorts of stuff today. Shout out to Fabian. We got Terra the Dawn. One micro trader. We even have MB3, a proper paradox, joining us as well. A shout out to small cap gapper extraordinaire Scott H. Giddy up to you as well, sir. Midday Lane, Day Trader Sky. Yo, what's up, man? What's up to you? Mela, Zion Lala, Greg 5 or Greg V. Do we call him Greg 5 or Greg the 5th?
Greg the 5th.
Because he's got that V in there.
Got the V. Oh my God, I didn't even see him in there. Yeah, Greg the 5th.
Greg the 5th, I like that.
Greg the 5th.
Evan, Brendan, Ronaldo, Chill Vibes. We got Capo Lees, Robbie V, Gorilla Glue. No way. Ooh. Melvin Tejada, Smooth 1J, Dabba Doo. We got the Exercise Dude. I like that name. The Paul Goodson, Andrew Chow, Bazinga. Yes, Bazinga is sick. James Choi. Burr Vision TV. Shout out to Day Trader Cut. Shout out to Nessa as well. Idris, Fat Figa joining us. We got, who else? The Evolution Trader, Monty G Covalence, like a covalent bond, like in chemistry.
Hey.
That was back in the day, right? We got Jose Gonzalez, Frank Handley, and Professor Chaos all joining us today. Joseph, what
a day so far. It's been an absolute morning. Everybody is buzzing, Sharif.
Sir.
The room is the floor is flying. Everybody's having a great time. We're giggling. We're having a great time, brother. What do you got cooking up?
Fantastic, man. Nothing. Just keeping my eyes here on DJT. There's a whole bunch of small cap gappers that have got lined up for you guys on the side chart, in addition to the umpteen amount of large caps that are running. But Joseph, we're in the midst of earnings season right now. So we're going to yap a little bit about some of these. We're going to do the lesson based on earnings. Anything you want to touch upon before we jump in?
Give me a second before we hop in right there. I think this might be a new segment, what's hot and what's not, guys. What is not hot is these ADRs. So Baba, it had a little bit of volume this morning. We were looking to play a continuation play to the top side. It did not. So again, not hot, but what is hot, Sharif? And you know I've been absolutely buzzing about this one. Bitcoin.
My man, he was hyped in the back today.
We're having a good time. Wayner and I in the back are having a great time. The semis are rolling, Bitcoin's rolling. So there's a lot of things. You could almost throw a dart at the stock market this morning and have a good time. So that's that. Let's jump right into your lesson, my friend.
Absolutely. As everybody knows, we're expecting a lot of the mega caps. The Meg 7, I believe 3 are reporting this week. Am I right, Neil? 3 or 4? All right, he's busy. So yeah, we got a lot of earnings reports, so let's get right to it. Earnings season is certainly a roller coaster. One moment a stock is soaring, the next it's plummeting. How come? It all comes down to that earnings report, and that we already started the discussion on it yesterday. Let's get a little bit more nuanced. We want to talk about these pre-earnings expectations. All the analyst analysis, the beliefs by the market. This is going to go up. This is going to go down. This has got a tailwind. This has got a headwind. So investor sentiment is heavily influenced by these pre-earnings expectations, which are primarily shaped by analyst forecast and the company guidance. So analyst forecast, company guidance helps shape analyst expectations going into the future. So let's talk about that. The analyst forecast. These are essentially investment analysts. They provide estimate of a company's expected earnings per share, EPS for short, right? Revenue and other financial metrics. Each company and each industry gonna have its own specific metrics, right? These forecasts are closely watched by investors and market participants alike. There's also that company guidance. Usually they issue guidance for the upcoming quarter upon the earnings release. What does that mean? So today, we're getting the report for Q3. What you'll see from the earnings report is they'll guide with respect to expectations for Q4. So we use the analyst forecast as well as the company guidance. Companies often provide what we call forward-looking statements about their expected performance, including revenue, earnings, guidance, etc. This information helps investors set those expectations. And then there's the consensus estimate. And this is kind of like, you know, the average of all the analysts who cover the stock, their forecast is known as the consensus estimate. It serves kind of as a benchmark kind of thing for comparing these actual results, right? And so the stock price often reflects these expectations in the lead up to the earnings. If the expectations are high, right, the stock may rise in anticipation of positive results. Conversely, if the expectations for the earnings are low, the stock sells off sometimes in anticipation of earnings. So sometimes we see, you know, oh my God, why is Meta running up so much in ahead of earnings? Well, because the street anticipates that they're going to beat and they want to get in at a better price before this thing is over 600 bucks. Simple example. And here's what we're looking at. We're looking at an earnings report courtesy of Morningstar for the dead one, Apple, right? For whatever reason, Morningstar thinks that Apple's fair valuation is about 185 bucks. This is a bit dated. This is from August 2nd. So what we're looking for here is just, you know, EPS, earnings, revenue, and the like. And then this is basically positive versus negative pre-announcement expectations. So look at how we were kind of trading in 2018. We kept getting negative expectations as opposed to positive. So the negative surprises outweighed the positive surprises. Well, that gives you an idea that the overall market kind of is bearish. And look what happens in Q3 of 2020, right when we're done COVID. All of a sudden, the actual report a lot better than what the analysts were looking for, and the earnings misses were definitely less than the earnings surprises. So it kind of helps us look at a graph like this will help us gauge the overall market. And this is just, you know, again, a quick screenshot there of what Apple was expected to print, you know, in terms of the EPS. The estimate was $1.56, the street high 164, the street low 144. And if you don't know what EPS is, go back to that lesson we talked about. It's earnings per share. So let's talk about earnings surprises. What happens when these companies do better than what the street was expecting? An earnings surprise occurs when a company's actual results deviate from the analyst expectations. Well, there's a positive surprise. Let's talk about that. When a company beats analyst estimates, it's typically viewed favorably by the market. The stock price often rises significantly after that. And negative surprise, kind of the opposite, right? Falling short of expectations can lead to a sharp decline in the stock price, kind of the opposite of the positive. And the magnitude of the surprise, how big did they miss? How big did they beat? That's also operative as well. The extent to which a company beats or misses estimates can influence the market's reaction. A larger surprise tends to have, obviously, a more profound or pronounced impact. And then there's also revenue surprises. So sometimes we talk about profitability, and profitability can be controlled by reining in cost. It's a little different than being able to actually get new customers or more money for the same products. That's an increase in net revenue. That's markedly different because you're expanding your TAM, your total addressable market, or you're increasing your prices. That's far different from internal controls, which control costs. So it's a bit of a better look there, if I could say so, a revenue surprise. So while EPS is often the primary focus, earnings per share, revenue surprises can also impact the stock. Beating revenue estimates can reinforce, obviously, positive sentiment. But what happens after the earnings? Let's talk about these post-earnings price reactions. So earnings releases often trigger significant volatility in the stock. Let's talk about the gaps up that could happen the day subsequent, right? From our previous discussion on gaps, recall the closing print at 4 o'clock the next day versus the opening print or the previous day versus the opening print at 9:30 the next day. That is how we calculate the gap, the space in between those two prices. So a gap up, a sharp increase in the stock price at the market open following a positive earnings. This is often reflecting investor enthusiasm. But the gap down, kind of the opposite, which is a sharp decline in the stock price at the market open following a negative earnings, indicating obviously market disappointment. And there's also after hours trading. These things don't just close at 4 and open up at 9:30. We go all the way to 8 p.m. Then we open up again at 4 a.m. That's the aftermarket. That's the pre-market. And then if you really want to get into it, there's 24-hour trading on Blue Ocean, but we won't get into that right now. So after hours or trading, earnings reports are often released after the market closes. Significant price movements can occur during that after hours trading. So it's incumbent upon you, if you want to participate in that volatility that takes place after hours when the earnings report is released, you got to make sure you get a broker that allows you to trade after market. They're not all created equal, especially in Canada. And then there's last but not least here, market sentiment. Overall market conditions can influence the post-earnings reaction. A positive market environment may amplify gains, while a negative market may exacerbate losses. So even if you beat on the quarter, you guide well, but there is overall negative sentiment in the market. Maybe it was 2022. We all remember that. You know, it may be dampened a little bit in terms of price action. And let's talk about, last but not least, the role of other factors. While earnings are the primary drivers, other factors influence stock price reactions as well, like these economic indicators, right? Overall economic conditions can impact investor sentiment and affect stock prices. And then there's industry trends, right? Performance of the company's industry can influence investor expectations and the stock price, right? We often talk about these cyclicals or counter-cyclicals. Utilities, for example, and discretionary staples, they all have kind of their moment in the sun, their time in the sun, I should say, and they all sometimes either have a headwind or a tailwind depending on where in the cycle we are. And then there's also the competitive landscape. A company's competitive position can affect its earnings and consequently its stock price. NVIDIA and AMD, I'm sorry, Joe, they both do the same thing, but NVIDIA is the number one, right? Like they don't focus on CPUs, they are GPUs only. The problem with AMD is they have that double focus, so it's not the same thing, all right? Unexpected events as well, news or news events unrelated to earnings can overshadow the results and impact the stock price. So keep that in mind, guys, and I hope everybody prints up a storm in this exciting earnings time.
Yeah, honestly, fantastic stuff, guys. And I like how you time the lesson, Sharif, because it's really important to know. And I think as you gain more experience within the markets, you need to understand these things. And Sharif and I were talking about Meta earnings from a previous couple quarters ago, and when they issued their dividend. And you can see what happened to the stock after that. It just absolutely soared. So when you have these strong fundamentals supporting the price movement and the technicals in the stock, this is what you need to look for. And this is what I was mentioning about sentiment before, is that if you go back to the earnings reports and they're not that good, then you want to correlate that with the current movement of the stock price. So as you gain more experience, you want to look into these a little bit more and then get a good understanding of why they are moving higher or why they are moving lower, right? And guidance is really important. When you see a company issue raising full fiscal year guidance and et cetera, then that can give a reason onto why the stock is moving much, much higher, all right? So those are very key important factors that you do need to pay attention to, especially in this time of the year, right? It's earnings season. We only get it 4 times a year. So guys, just make sure that you are paying attention and that you learn how to take advantage of these reports, because the volatility is absolutely fantastic and the opportunities arise after these reports, guys. So someone in the chat asked me, Hallie Miz asked me, Joe, what kind of books am I reading or have I read, or what's something that you would like to read? And it's something that I always refer to, and we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, is the correlation between price and volume, right? Also known as volume price analysis. There's a fantastic book by Anna Cooling called Volume Price Analysis, and it is the correlation. She dives into the correlation of the candle prints, so of your candlestick prints, and volume. This is this is one of the most key and most important metrics, in my opinion, to intraday trading. Once you have a better understanding of how to correlate the volume by time with the candle prints, you're going to be able to have a much better read in the market. You add that with the time and sales and the level 2, you're just adding more conviction into your playbooks, all right? So that is this is really, really important. So volume price analysis by Anna Cooling is something that I will recommend to you, but we're gonna talk some more stock right when we get back from Adara.
Keep an eye on Meta actually holding, as of right now, pretty nicely above a key previous area here of 588, up more than 2%, or almost 2%, sorry. Not seeing any news on this, except we did have Cathie Wood's ARK Invest up between their ARKK and ARKW funds buying $22.4 million worth of Meta. So ARKK adding 22,175 shares, ARKW 16,500 shares. So $22.4 million purchase here in META for Cathie Wood's ARK Invest ahead of its earnings report tomorrow after the close. META, as of right now, at day size at 589. If this ticker or any others are on your watch and you want to see how Neil or Sean would have traded them, you have about 2.5 hours left to vote. Go in the chat, join, space, $, and your ticker of choice.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yeah, you finished your thought.
Yeah, no, I pretty much did. No, we were just referring to, and I think that's such a key important metric to intraday trading, and even on longer time frames. And guys, we talked about this before, and we were talking about gaps last weekend, is that you can correlate these high volume signatures with indecision candles. And when you correlate the candle prints with the volume, it's going to give you more conviction within the trade. And I personally base a lot of trades off of that. I was talking about Amazon, and since we're talking about it, I'll pull it up right now and give you guys a brief example of what exactly I was looking at via Amazon. And just look, this was from Black Monday, Sharif said.
Yes, sir.
So look at this, and this is what she basically touches on. So we have this massive gap down, but then we have this isolated volume signature here, right? Volume by time, and then the distinctive print in the daily candle. This is a hammer, whatever you want to call it. But when you see these prints correlate and at extremes, they can give you a potential trade, right? You can build a thesis off of these specific setups, all right? And as I mentioned before, what I did is I sold a heap of puts onto this position. Absolutely, Sharif. And I had an absolutely blast trading this because I'm like, I've seen this so many times, I've collected data, and then now I can execute on the trade, right? So these are, and one thing I'll add on too is that it also correlated with a gap fill play that I'm looking at. So you'll see these volume signatures and these prints on massive gaps after really big catalysts, and you can correlate these into multiple different theses. So I'm doing a volume price analysis play with a gap fill. That's so much conviction, and that's why I was like, hey, let me sell some puts. Great, we did well. But then I'm like, okay, I've seen this so many times, Sharif. I need to leverage this a little bit more, right? So that's when I started playing with putting just straight directional options into that, going into shares, filling these gaps, because what I built from a data set standpoint says these are high conviction trades. So look for those, read that book, Anna Cooling, Volume Price Analysis, and then you'll be able to distinctively tell in specific extremes, hey, is this a good setup or is it not? But what do you got going on there, my friend?
We'll print in here on Donald John Pump, baby. This stock, bro, this stock. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Adara. We're down. We got it. Where did we get filled? 74s. Jeez. I just wet my beak at 33s. Let's see if we can weasel into 52s. I mean, 52 is the topping tail candle that we put in, guys, at 11:10, right when we kind of just started the show there. So Donald John Pump is, it's 7-8%. It's not the biggest mover on the day, no dude booty, but we're gonna look. We're gonna set up an order here at 51.88, and come what may, right? So shout out to all my Asians. I know that's a good luck number there for them. So we're going to go ahead, 51.88. We're going to set it up there. That's where we're going to hang out and find out, see if we can weasel up there. Let me tell you, 1 penny below my entry, 50.73, I'm gone. So I'm not going to let any part of this go against me. I won't be DCing into this. we're either going to take out the top or we're going to whiffle and waffle. Right now, print in 34s. This is where we rejected last time on DJT. A seller, wow, bro, wow, I just took off the top. Look at DJT, bro,
almost off the edge. Let's go.
It might hold up here. Wow, that was a move. That was a move on DJT. Goodness gracious. We got that 51.88 like that, and then we popped up into 53. Zigging and zagging. It did reject 53, but it's right back there. 11.5% for Donald John Pump. It's going to take 53, or is it? We're getting the ask north of 53. The bid is having trouble crossing that 53, keeping me, of the opinion that we have a seller of note in and around that level. So keep your eye out on this one. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to set up again on this. Possibly a 51 break and take there. If we do dip into, 52. 52 was the level that we broke out from. This was the area rejection over here, and then we got right back into that area, and that's when it was a liquidity grab. No question about it. The way that moved, shout out to the Obe. He is the one, Knob would always, I think he would explain it like that, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. In any event, keeping my eye on this one, Joseph, DJT. It's not at the day's high. The day's high is 54.30 technically, but that's not even, the day high. That's the official high, right? 54.30. But the pre-market high that we printed at 8:15, Fabian, that one took us to 57.50. With that in mind, now we're going to send it to Adara for, I think, happening now, or market recap.
We're going to take a look here at the larger movers in the S&P 500 to the upside and the downside. I always like to have a theme for this segment, so today's theme is going to be catalysts that are moving sectors as a whole. We're going to talk specifically here about the utility sector, pretty sharply to the downside, retail, trade, with a lot of these, specifically home building names a little bit weaker, and this technology services sector. So we're going to start here with the home builders, DHI, DR Horton, recovering from its lows, but still down almost 10% here. They did miss across the board for their Q4 2024 earnings. They also said their fiscal 2025 outlook a little bit lower than expected due to some cautious home buying sentiment. So DHI and names like HD, LOW, and LEN all to the downside. We also have here this space in technology. CDNS is the chart I have up here, up almost 11%. But F5, FFIV is also up about 10%. MSCI up about 4.5%. All of those companies reporting really strong earnings, so this space certainly on watch with earnings. Next, last but not least, we have NEE, Next Era Energy, leading the utility sector to the downside. It's worth noting Next Era is the largest component in utilities, announcing this morning that they are intending to sell $1.5 billion worth of equity units. So this equity sale sending NEE and a lot of the other utilities names sharply to the downside today. If these or any other tickers are on watch for you, go in that chat and vote. Exclamation point join, space, $, and your ticker of choice. You have until 1:50 to vote, and the top 5 tickers will be analyzed and talked about by Sean, Neil, and Sharif at 2 p.m.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Big Smile's making me laugh up a storm, bro. He's like, yo, your agitation from yesterday found its way to me. What happened, Big Smile? Bro, I just saw you telling people to buy calls. I mean, I was kind of shocked when I even saw that you wrote that word.
Calls.
Yeah. He likes his puts.
Yeah, he likes the puts.
Right? I mean, who am I talking to? Joey Options over here, so he knows.
Hey.
What are you doing over there?
Hey, brother, I got a good question in the chat from somebody.
Good.
Kyle McGill, he's just asking me about, where we put Mirion Technologies. So Mirion Technologies is a global provider of radiation detection, measurement, analysis, and monitoring solutions of the medical, nuclear, defense, and research end markets. All right, so he says his nephew is in a big position here, so let's take a look. And from a technical standpoint, he says he's up 50% on the position, and they report today after the bell. Hey, I mean, look to take some profits on that. I don't know what the report's going to come out as. Obviously, I mean, you're in the money, you're making some good money, so maybe you want to trim a little bit off the top. Solid position there. The technicals seem absolutely fantastic. This thing is breaking out, and that's exactly what you want to see. You're seeing this volume start to step in, and that can give you more conviction within the trade, right? So that's a genuine move. As we increase in price, as we appreciate in price, you're getting that influx in volume too. So that's something you really want to look out for. So good luck there. He bought the right stock. Good on him. As for the report, maybe take a little bit off because you don't know if this is extended. And if it does continue to trade higher, you got some skin in the game. But then if it decides that it wants to sell off a little bit, you've locked in some profits and you're not that heavily weighted. So that's my look, Sharif, on Mirion Technologies, my friend. But as anything else, I've been raving about it for a little while. I think a lot of people have been waiting for this. Sharif, IBIT is breaking out. It is breaking out with conviction. We love it. We're crawling higher. We're sitting around 41.10s. Now we're around 38, 39s yesterday, and we're continuing to the top side. So we're having an absolute blast with this. We're riding the wave of IBIT, and hopefully we go into a new price discovery sitting around just under 72,000. So we're not too far off the all-time high, Sharif. I'm looking for that to break in the near future. I know Jose in the back said by today even, I think he said tomorrow all-time highs on Bitcoin or by the end of the week.
That's a statement.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. So we like it. Hey, and I'm backing it. We have this breakout. It's holding those levels. We want to see it hold that 70,000 level, and it's doing exactly that. We have a lot of conviction within the setup today. So I think hands are starting to start touching this more. We got the inflows that are just absolutely coming in strong. So that's another thing that you want to see as well too. But we're going to look to try to get into this. We need a pullback here, guys, before we decide to buy the highs. And we want to see that we can break 72,000 with some volume. You can see the volume starting to pick up absolutely here. So maybe it is a buy the dip scenario here. I don't know if we're going to get VWAP again today. We've touched it once. We've held it already. Maybe we get a little bit something. We are pulling back, and it is an extremely volatile asset, so we will look to get in that, guys. But you also know that I'm in AMD with some calls. I'm loving it. We report after the bell. We're now trading under $164, so we're having a monstrous day, up 2.1% on the session, so that's really good. Meta's up 1 3/4. The Q's a cool 0.5%. And the SPY just under 0.1%. So it's been a really good day. I think the financial sector is a little weak, so maybe that can give some explanation on to why the SPY is lagging. But what you cooking up there, my friend?
I'm looking at DJT again, that 52 levels of note. But this is going to be the second time now we've got come into 52, Fabian, because the first time was over here after I got out at 88s. And it popped into 53. Now it's back into 52. Looking like, though, it's a little bit maybe different around this time. So I want to see if it holds 52 here or if it gives up the go. So it looks like it's dropping a little bit. So what's the next level right now if we give up 52? So then I'm looking at around 51. That's where the volume-weighted average price is. But when I look on the 5-minute chart currently, this current candle, despite the fact that it's red, has a higher high and a higher low. So the trend is still intact. The low of the previous candle, the one that we just completed, that finished at 1120, is 5107. So I don't want to see anything below 5107 because that will be a bearish engulfing, where it engulfs the previous green candle from the top and the downside. So that ain't the look for me. I was looking at 52. 52 was right the first time around. It isn't right, or it looks like it's not right at the moment. We'll see if it bounces back currently right now. So I want to see if I can weasel back into this one right now, but it's going to have to set up the way that I like. Now, we've opened up a new 5-minute candle right now. So the one that we closed at 25, the low of that one was 5161. The current candle that we're in right now, 5160. So essentially the same level there. So let's keep an eye out on DJT as it continues to put in those higher highs and higher lows. I'm getting in again over here. So we're long DJT right now at 75s. Let's see if we can set up a couple of trades up here at 88s. There we go. We just took a beak wetter at 88s. Let's set up a couple of more here in the high 90s. Let's sit there at the top of the 90. Let's see if we get filled at 97. There it is again, Joe. All right, so let's see if we can take this one again. Let's see if it wants to clear 52. We're long 75s, a bit of a buffer. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm over here looking at IBIT, Sharif, still waiting for that pullback here. I think we're going to get it. We might have to jump in this and continue so we can get a little bit of, get in on a little bit of this action here because this thing is extremely strong. We were looking at Mara actually a little bit today too. Yeah, Mara. And then, yeah, but I don't know what happened. We had a beautiful setup. We opened up above this daily range here. And we had a little bit of volume with IBIT, Sharif's fist pumping. So,
the Katina men are competing who can fist bump harder, bro. The Katina men is a troll extraordinaire.
You know what? Okay, so no, we'll come back tomorrow, but let's go take it over to Sharif and see what he's cooking up over there.
Well, no, we're good.
All right, he's good. All right, we're good. He's good, man. He's 50 pennies. That simple. Hey, keep it simple. So that's it. He's printing up a storm, absolutely money storm today on the floor with these between Katina Man, Neil, and Sharif. So good work, good look on those guys. It's raining. So hey, I mean, just getting back tomorrow, I would tone it down a little bit here now, but just to get back tomorrow, guys, I was looking for a continuation of the breakout. It did sell off quite a bit, but as you can see from a daily standpoint, we did open above this range, which is absolutely beautiful. As Sharif would say, a flat top break, and that's what you want to look for. Unfortunately, we didn't get quite the continuation that we were hoping for on Mara, but that's okay. Hey, again, you just wait and you see if volume steps in. Sometimes this thing takes a little while to get going. Maybe it needed to grab some liquidity here, and then maybe it can continue and go for that 20 push, which I think is totally obtainable here on Mara. So we're going to continue our eyes on there. If we look like we're going to breach the volume-weighted average price VWAP at any point, then I'm going to look to get involved in this, right? Because I think Bitcoin is strong. I think the breakout continues with Bitcoin. It's been chopping around for a couple months, trading in a specific channel. So I think it's time for these things to start to get rolling. I'm not too sure when Mara reports or anything like that, but as of right now, the main focus is on Bitcoin if you're looking to play the miners and the actual underlying asset. So I'll always keep an eye on that. And hey, guys, if anybody knows in the chat when IBIT is going to be optionable, I kept asking this. Let me know. So if anybody has any insider information, it's approved. So it's just a matter of time until this thing's on the options market. And guys, best believe we're going to be having some fun with that one. So we're going to keep an eye out for that. And when it's open, who knows what we're going to do, Sharif? What do you got cooking up?
I'm just keeping an eye out here on Piton. I was talking to Scott H. He's telling me, he's like, no love for my Piton. So I was going back and forth. I'm like, wasn't there a big analyst or a big investor that was bullish talking about Piton being undervalued? I don't know if you got to hear. So it's David Einhorn basically talking about Piton being highly undervalued. And I think he was doing it. It was a little on the nose, Joe. The dude was on a Peloton at an exercise, I think, event. And he's making the case while he's cycling on the Peloton.
Yeah.
It was a little too much fun.
Well, I don't know. People just say it's a regular spin cycle bike with an iPad on it.
I know,
right? So
I've heard that reference before.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. GameStop's breaking out here. I just had GME on the side chart for whatever reason, Fabian. And I just noticed that it's breaking out. So GameStop's at the high of the day. GameStop took yesterday's high, which was essentially $23. It also took the pre-market high that we put in, I believe, at 7 o'clock, thereabouts, at $23. We took that out, 23.18 HOD on GME. I'll keep it on the side chart, but, GameStop, whatever. This is Peloton today, Scott. Not a bad look. I mean, it's up 3.25%. What's the situation been lately? I think that's the Einhorn pump, right? The 23rd, when we were, what is that? That was at around 2 o'clock? Because that seems like it came out of nowhere, Scott. That definitely looks like the Einhorn pump.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but our good buddy Monty G says Buddy is also very long Peloton calls.
Yes. So, I should have mentioned that.
There you go, yeah.
So sorry I didn't mention that. It was incumbent upon me to mention that.
No bias there at all.
Yeah, no bias whatsoever there.
Yeah.
No, clearly he is. I should have mentioned that. Thank you for fact checking me on that. It's a good look. I mean, Piton, Fabian, right into that 666 today, anonymous number. That's the high of the day. I'm looking at that 7 break and take though, because we haven't been above 7 on a closing basis, Scott, for a hot minute, man. I mean, you got to go all the way back to when is this? August of last year, Scott. So if we take 7. Not bad. Not bad. We still got a ways to go, man. I remember when this thing was like $150, or was it? Yeah, it was $170. There you go. So we got some ground to make up. In any event, that's let's keep an eye out on some other small cap gappers. Let's bring in the side chart over here. Here are the small cap gappers we're looking at. Some of them are still going, some of them not so much. WGS looks really good. Fantastic look here for WGS. Only problem is it's $83. So you're not going to be able to size in, or maybe you are, as much as you would like. So this one, here is the details. WGS, let's find out. What do we got here? Gendex Holdings, it's about a $2.25 billion market cap. They're a genomics company, about 18 million share float. And let's find out what the short float is over here on WGS. Looks really good chart-wise. A decent short float, guys, about 12.5%, or maybe even a little bit more, borrowed for short. Again, the only issue with this one is the price. Quite expensive, probably is spready as well. I haven't loaded it up on a trading screen. Awfully respectful, though, of this trend and the 10 exponential moving average. There's only been a couple of touches here at the 10 all the morning. Since 9:30, we didn't touch the 10 exponential till 11:10, 11:15. So maybe the trend is fizzling out. We'll keep an eye out on this one. RILY, a bit more of a reasonably priced small cap gapper. Looks bull flaggish at the moment. A symphony of lower highs and lower lows after printing that high a day at 707. I still like this because it's above the volume weighted average price. That is kind of my line in the sand with these small cap gappers. You're not going to see me take them long below VWAP, nor will you see me short them above VWAP. So this one possibly setting up at that 660. It's currently printing 675. This is the first candle to make a new high right here and a higher low. Talking about that 1130 candle in the 5-minute. RILY, good look. UAVS and UPXI breaking down below VWAP. I don't want none of that. And then CAN. I don't know what the hell is going on with CAN, but somebody's selling up a storm at 127. Look at that flat top. Somebody's selling big up here. 127, $1.27. That is on CAN, up 18%. Having trouble taking that level. That would be this one looks like it's trading like a buyout, man. Last but not least here, Joe, NXL. This was another good one over here, up 23 some odd percent, respectful of the volume weighted average price. It looks to be, still in that, bullish pattern. And I lied, that was not the last one. THC, I don't even know if this is a marijuana stock. It's got to be. If this is not a marijuana stock, it's not, dude. It's Tenet Healthcare. Thank you, Katina, man. It's about a $15 billion market cap. Very strong, very directional, but also very expensive. Started out the day at $139, and then we topped out right now $157.43. So it's trading well, and that's a hell of a pattern there, but it's quite an expensive stock, Joe.
Yeah. Sick movie, by the way, Tenet.
Ooh,
good
call.
Yeah, it's a really sick movie. Our good buddy KB, Kyle Burdett. Peloton has taken over the #1 clothes hanger position for the Nordic track machines. Hi, KB.
Of course it's
yes, sir. Thanks for
that, so cynical.
Joker. All right, guys.
He's actually accurate on that, though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all it is. Like, you're just going to the gym.
He's absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
My condo's got one in the gym downstairs.
A Peloton?
Yeah. It's decent. It's a heavy machine, Joe. It's well made.
Yeah.
Well made.
Oh, okay, so the quality's there. That's what you want. You want to see the quality in there. I was at the gym. Did you hit it yesterday? Were you on the Peloton yesterday?
No, I don't do cardio. I run.
I don't do cardio, he said. Just
no.
straight to the bicep.
That's empty calories, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
there
like
you
drinking
go.
beer.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to burn no calories. I want to use the calories for the muscle gain.
All right. I better stop running then if I want to catch up.
I run.
Yeah, you're
that's
running.
real.
Yeah, running. Yeah.
Once a week.
No, guys. Yeah, we got hockey on Thursday too, so I'll just throw it out there. Hey. But anyways, we're over here in IBIT. We got into the position exactly where we wanted to. So let's see if we can go and touch 41 here, and then maybe we can take a little bit off the top, which would be really, really beautiful. So, but again, look what we waited for. We waited for this trend to hold, and it did exactly that. So we'll take a quick gander at this trend line here. And look at that, boom. See, it holds to the penny almost, right? Sorry, gotta get that out of there. Hold. Oh, we're going. So there we go. So we're gonna go off to Adara. We're gonna take a little bit off the top here, folks, and then we'll come back, talk some more stock when we get back from Adara.
We're gonna take a look here at earnings. What I like to do here is take a look at some day one plays as well as some names on watch reporting after the bell or tomorrow morning. So we're gonna start with SoFi, which I thought was a really interesting one because initially we were pretty strong here off the open with a lot of pre-market volume. GAAP earnings per share 5 cents, beating 4 cents expected. Sales 689.445 million versus 632 million expected. So that was also a pretty strong beat. They also raised their guidance here which above their previous range and above estimates. The stock ended up falling though with pretty strong volume. I wasn't able to find a reason for this. From what I'm seeing online, it doesn't seem like there was anything in the call that I could see. I was seeing some speculation of market manipulation, but these numbers are really strong. They had a 102% year-over-year increase in financial services revenue, 30% increase year-over-year in total revenue. So that is the report there on SOFI. What about McDonald's? MCD, I thought would be interesting to look at because we did have the recent E. coli story, and they're still continuing to track this 302 level here on the daily with some support at 286 here. So this is a bit of an interesting wider range for MCD. We do have their CEO speaking on the E. coli outbreak of last week for the first time, calling it deeply concerning. They beat, though, across the board here. Earnings per share beat, sales beat. They did have a 1.5% decrease here in comparable sales. Their U.S. comparable sales increased, which is actually the last report we didn't have that, so there was an increase, but they increased by less than expected. It's worth noting here too, though, and this is around when we got that move back up. During their call, the CEO here said that they're going to be reaffirming some aspects of their outlook, assuming that there's no material impact from the E. coli outbreak to business. So they are assuming there's not going to be much of a material impact there from the E. coli to the overall McDonald's business. They've already brought back that quarter pounder. So that's something of note here. Now let's take a look at what's on the docket to report tonight. We have AMD and Google, the biggest here. AMD expected to report at 4:15. Consensus estimate of 92 cents per share for earnings, $6.71 billion there for their revenue estimate. GOOG, GOOG and GOOGL, I'm seeing two different times, but revenue estimate here of $72.85 billion and $1.83 per share for earnings. Visa's another one here on watch, $2.58 per share expected. $9.48 billion in revenue expected. Then tomorrow morning, probably of these, the biggest is going to be Eli Lilly. We know that is a LLY, pretty large name here. They do have an earnings estimate of $1.52 per share, revenue of $12.21 billion expected. These or any other tickers are always eligible for voting. Just go in that chat, exclamation point join, space $, and your ticker of choice. And with that, I believe we are ready for Neil's early lesson of the day, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you, Adair. What a packed earnings board that is going to be tonight. Check out that aftermarket show. Going to be a banger. And tomorrow morning, getting some big ones in there. But when you're trading, you want to always try to measure everything that you can. You want things to be as quantifiable as possible. When you're doing so, you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Or you don't want to be comparing apples to oranges. It's an old saying, but it's tried and true. So I'm going to use, there was a really, really smart trader back in the day, and like if my dad used to even say this as well, sometimes the easiest way to make a point is to take an extreme example, right? So the most extreme example will be the most obvious one and the easy way to make a point. So if you looked at excluding yesterday after earnings on Tesla, for a lot of traders, I don't want to speak for everybody, for a lot of traders, the place where you were going to be looking for idea number 1 and 2 was probably Tesla for a couple of days. So whether you're taking breakout trade in Tesla or dip into prior high on Tesla or breakout continuation, whatever it might be, it's pretty easy to say that that was going to be the place that you wanted to have your top trade and top ideas. So when you look over to comparing, okay, well, what's my top idea yesterday? And again, like AMD was a frustrating one. Thankfully, it actually wasn't that bad because it ended up trending upside. We barely lost anything on it. But I'm not comparing AMD yesterday to random AMD trade 7 days ago. No, it was a strong 2-day move. It was a continuation long, and it was a top idea, as was Alphabet. So you compare whatever P&L profit loss on the individual trades to the ones I had the confidence on before, which is exactly Tesla. That was in that pole spot a couple of days ago. So that's where I want to make that comparison. I don't want to just blindly compare it to any other trade that I happen to have on AMD. No, it was a breakout continuation on a big cap name that was adjacent to over in Tesla. It was that big idea that we liked. So when I look over at today, and again, it's going to be a little bit of a different story because today, the biggest catalyst, I mean, DJT was obviously a big catalyst. We talked about Mara, oddly enough, didn't even look at the nuclear names, but those were Bitcoin, DJT, those were going to be the bigger plays. So I came in, and outside of DJT long at the open, which never really set up, I liked short, fun, on DJT reversions. So where am I going to put the most risk in? And unlike NVIDIA, or unlike AMD, where we lost literally 5% of what we made on our best Tesla day, because we stunk, but we didn't stink that bad on it. We actually got 1 win out of 4, which was okay. But on Funware, that's where I wanted the risk to be today. Every single short opportunity, and realistically, it trended down, but I was in, had it dead to rights, stopped out, had it on the low. This was actually when DJT was rolling over again, didn't work. Then we had a good short in here, had a good short in here. We ended up going about 2 for 5 on Funware, but I'm not just measuring Funware against the last time I traded Fun. I got to measure it against those Tesla trades because it was the top place that I wanted to be today. So we lose about half what we do on Funware today than we made on a good Tesla trade. So I'm happy with that. By the way, Funware is actually starting to really squeeze in here a little bit. And just one more example of that, when we go into DJT, now the initial look for the bounce play on DJT was early. When I eventually make the trade on DJT, it's a middle of the day mean reversion setup. So it's a trade that sets up in the wild. You don't necessarily know where it's going to be or how it's going to look. So you basically have to look for these versus each other. So this mean reversion late in the middle of the day, what am I comparing that to? One that works in DJT to one that doesn't work in CleanSpark. And this is what it looks like when it doesn't work. Mean reversion, now this is underneath VWAP, reverts, Bitcoin was going in that moment. Now obviously it gets into VWAP, but that doesn't matter because the trade is get long when it closes above and then get out underneath the local bottom. So the key is here, don't lose more on CleanSpark than you make on DJT, so that works out. So overall, you want to make sure that the ideas that are at the top of your list, you're risking more on. And 2 days ago, that could have been Tesla for a lot of people. Yesterday, for myself, I know it was AMD and Google. And then I want to be comparing things like Funware to that. And then when I look at DJT or CLSK, which came in the wild as just a mean reversion setup, that wasn't something that was part of the plan, compare those against each other. That way, you're actually grading your trading strategies against the ones that matter. Not just randomly from trade A to trade B. No, trade the like trades together. Your top confidence trade versus your top confidence ones the other days. Your mean reversion middle of the day trades versus your mean reversion trades the rest of the time. And that way you're at least able to stay consistent. And it's all about process and consistency. That's what trading is all about. So when you're looking at your levels, when you're looking at your trades, when you're looking to grade yourself, make sure that you are comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges. Although this is not really an orange. That's your lesson of the day. Good luck, everybody.
Bite. And he took the bite, like he totally dunked on us right there. There he is. There he is.
Posterized, man.
And his eyes cut like the glasses match the apple. Everything's working.
He's
there,
on
Neil.
fire.
Shout out to Neil, man. Thank you very much, Neil. Eloquent, informative, and just awesome around always. You got something you want to yell about?
I'm trying to contain the emotions here, but we're having a good time. Yeah, we're having a good time. Finch Jane, are you from Toronto? I'm curious. Do you know if they're from Toronto?
Think about that. I
wonder if you're from Toronto. Yeah. I mean, guys, we're just having an absolute blast. Fabian, if we can pull up my chart here, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Guys, come on.
Is that bottom wick?
Come on. Not quite. But I mean, close. We held that trend line that I was talking about earlier really, really well. And we're just going to continue to the top side, I think, here. We're talking, hey, are we going to break 73? Are we going to make a new all-time high today? Today, guys. Not later this week, but today. And the chances are, with the market being as strong as it is and the move that Bitcoin is putting in, there's a high possibility. It's not too far off of that. So, guys, we're going to continue and try to hold into this strength because that's what I said. The first thing before Sharif got into his lesson, what's hot and what's not. And Bitcoin is absolutely hot. So we're going to definitely stick to some things like Bitcoin. Sharif, one thing that may not be hot is Intel. Did you read the news on Intel
I didn't
today?
see what now, man.
They've invested $300 million into China. Looking to expand, looking to expand whatever they're doing. So yeah, exactly.
Didn't China want to block some of their chips? I don't understand this. I thought they called them a security risk.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the right move by these guys. An absolutely depleted stock. The company's in almost borderline shambles. So I don't know if investing in China at the
I don't get it. Like, look, bro, I've always been of the opinion that this company turns it around some way, somehow, but I don't get that. I'm going to have to read this. Who did Adair bring us this?
I didn't know.
Intel strengthens ties with China, as Joe was saying, invests $300 million to expand chip operations. Not going to read this entire thing, but looks like there is a packaging and testing facility in Chengdu. Yeah, so we'll have a look at that. That's brought to us there by Benzinga. So INTC, but not really reacting too badly to it. Is down. It's at the low, 22.75. So yeah, a bit of a tougher look for Intel there. Yeah, but who was pointing this out? Vic A was yelling ARM, and he could not be more accurate. SMCI, ARM, they're both over 3% on the day. It's a good look for the chips. Here, let's have a look at ARM. This is the 5-minute look. We are at the high of the day, 154.80. A good look for ARM, man. There was a bit of a debacle between them and Qualcomm, with ARM threatening to pull the licensing agreement from Qualcomm there as a result of a Qualcomm acquisition. They want to renegotiate the licensing deal with the company that Qualcomm acquired. Qualcomm gave them a gesture that included a finger, and that's basically the beef between them right now. And I think ARM sold off a bit on that. I think that was back on the 24th or something, like maybe earlier. In any event, ARM looking really good today, very respectful of the 10 moving average on the 5. Let's have a look at SMCI. That one is doing well. Okay, so we just tailed a little bit. Big breakout there through 49 on SMCI up to 49.70, back into the $0.50. But again, another name that's awfully respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Most of the dips are held up there, and then it makes newer highs and higher lows. So SMCI also in focus. Guys, there aren't too many chip names that are negative. I have quite a bit. I have about 20, maybe even more names of semis and microchips in my watch list. The only ones that are negative right now, Micron down a third, and Intel 1 1/5. And then Pi. Pi is kind of a lesser known name. It's also down 1 1/4. So chips today, super strong. You got the likes of AMD, your boy there, 2 1/4. As I mentioned with the other two, they're all up as well. AVGO, which is Broadcom, 1 1/3. Taiwan Semi, 1%. But Taiwan Semi's below 200 again. And that's one of those ones, Joe, that I want to weasel into. Taiwan Semi and ASML, I'm dying to build positions in there, but they got to be at the right price. These two are essentially kind of monopolies in what they do. We know that most of the world's advanced chips comes out of Taiwan Semi, about 66%. And then we all know about ASML with their ultraviolet lithography machine, this, that, and the other. So those are the two companies I'm willing to look into. And as I look at it right now, it looks like Taiwan Semi on the daily just actually tested previous support. Now, that's the area trough or crest that we have in mid-July, right into that 194, 195 area. But then we also tested that area before the gap up on earnings right at 195. It looks like it came into about 193.60, and now it's above 196 or so. So this could be an interesting area on the daily. I'm not talking intraday, on Taiwan Semi, keeping an eye on that one because, well, it's an amazing company. Let's flip to some of these small cap gappers now and see if we can weasel into any trades. It looks like we might give up, though. Before we get to small cap gappers, we've been doing the wick shimmy dance with 20,600 on the NQ December contract. We have a bit of a candle of indecision here as we're now below 20,600, but we're still kind of keep maintaining that higher low, higher high situation on the 5 minutes. So I don't want to be jumping into any short position on the future really quickly, but I did see this on Google, a nice rounded top, and it looks like Google is coming in to that 168.20, maybe 168-ish area where VWAP is. And VWAP's area here at 168.20, also really interesting, because at 940 and 945, we have that 2-candle hold up there. So actually, that would be an interesting support area if we were to drop down there on Google. So I'm going to put an alert there because that's an interesting trade for me, given the price action, given that's VWAP. I'm going to front run it by putting it at the $0.25, so I'll get that alert if Google works its way down there. Back to some of these small cap gappers, though. NXL breaking down below VWAP. DJT still south of that area at 53.50. So there's not a whole lot of small cap gappers that are really making big boy moves during the midday over here, Joe. So it looks like I'm grasping at straws over here. I'm going to keep looking out for something, though. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm just actually pulling up some things that are hopping up on my scanner here, Sharif, and one of those is Pfizer. I mean, like this stock has been trading in the same range for probably, I don't know, about 10 plus years. Like this thing, it doesn't really move much. It moved a little bit in COVID. Other than that, it just goes right back into the mean. So, guys, we're going to talk some more about Pfizer and what's on the scanner right after we get back from Madera.
We're going to talk about some other names here in the health space, more specifically these GLP-1 stocks. NVO pretty sharply here to the downside with a bit of a volume spike now trying to recover. HIMS doing the opposite, trying to push higher here. We have the FDA apparently finding multiple compliance issues at Novo Nordisk's Denmark site. So there's an FDA inspection with some compliance flags, including insufficient sample volume. There's also some issues with control of the microbial content, undocumented processes, incomplete records, and lapses in quality oversight. So some quality oversight issues and issues with their labs, sending NVO to the downside on that FDA investigation. Keep an eye on HIMS and LLY, which I'll pull up right here for sympathy plays. This is also especially interesting because LLY reports tomorrow morning before the bell, guys.
I'm seeing somebody mention CrowdStrike in the chat. Guys, Sharif, you guys already know what I'm looking at here on CrowdStrike.
What are you looking at, Joseph?
A gap fill play, my brother. We're starting to head towards that gap, and that's exactly what I'm looking to play. So if we can breach 316.96, as you can see on there, then hey, we're gonna wait and play. So if it shows up, then we're gonna look to take some size onto that position as well, too, guys. So we'll look into that. But as of right now, I was talking a little bit of Pfizer. So let's pull up this from a daily perspective. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what kind of dividend these guys issue. If you're in this stock solely to collect a dividend, then okay, good on you. But yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? So if you like this sideways movement, then there you go. This is the stock that you want to kind of get into. But other than that, if you're looking to play this, what kind of dividend they offer, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty positive they do. But other than that, you don't want to be into that as a long-term investor. But Sharif, guess what? IBIT making new highs of day. Let's go. Sitting around 41.30. Let's go. We're having an absolute.
We need a new poll, brother.
What's the poll?
The poll has to be when Bitcoin breaks that March high, man. Like, because we're about, what are we, $1,300 away?
Not even now.
Not even.
Not even now. So we're having fun on that one. There's another thing that I want. Adara was talking McDonald's today. What are you guys cooking up over there? You're good? All right, everybody's good. So guys, yeah, we're just still here. I think we're going to get out our last little bit here. We don't have too much left, but bang. That's it. So that's the trade, guys. This thing's going to trend. It's probably going to trend for the rest of the day, but we didn't have too many shares left, so we just took that all off. But yeah, absolutely beautiful trade there. We're happy with this one.
Nice, Joe.
We caught that trend line there, and now we're out at the top, brother. What are you cooking up?
We're printing on Google, man. I told you I'd take the VWAP dip. I took the VWAP dip. I didn't even get the best price. Thank you, Adara. I didn't even get the best price, Joe, because by the time I weaseled my way over to the trading screen, it had gone away from me. It was a beautiful, literally wicked into the volume weighted average price, and it put in a hammer candle quick as you dang like. I love this level. Again, volume weighted average price, double area hold up over here. I've taken out already 50%. Let's let this one run. My next beak wetter at 59s. Let's see if this one is able to work its way above that 50 penny area. It's having trouble with the $0.50 right now. Hammer candle or not. What I'm seeing is it's having trouble breaking above the $0.50. Let's see if it's able to weasel up. 53s now, or 54s, excuse me, on the ask. Again, I'm waiting at 59. It's 1% in the green. It's going to have to weasel up a little bit more. We're going to take this out incrementally. There it is, Joe, right up again, man. All right, so now let's set up at 69, Joe. And there it is at 70, Joe. Boom. Let's go up again. Let's go up again, my boy.
Let's go. My boy, let's go up again.
I'm having a good time, bro. I'm having a good time.
It looked like you got a fill there. Did you get
I did get a fill at 70s.
Partial?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, partial is going to be...
okay, a different color you got,
exactly,
you got cooking on.
Exactly,
all right. No, okay, so anyways, we're on the subject of Google. Let's talk a little bit about Google because there is probably, out of the Meg 7, it's probably the most controversial one coming up this afternoon, right?
Agree.
So, okay, what are your thoughts? You say 50% ad revenue potentially down, but I'm gonna try to use this in an example. We have this negative sentiment around this stock, but is it any different than when Zuck was spending a lot of money on the metaverse?
It is, Joe. It is. Here's my reason. Let me make my case. He was spending on a technology that is completely nascent. It's a future thing. Who knows? Maybe people end up doing the metaverse, maybe they don't. But this is an established model that they're losing revenue on now. People are taking their market share. Dog, they had something like 90% of all of search or something like that.
Yep.
And you're eating away at it. I'm just talking about myself. I don't go into Google anymore, to Google search. I work my way into ChatGPT app. I say, hey, ChatGPT, what's this, whatever my question is. And it gives it to me in a very straightforward answer, thorough. We can talk about, the problems with LLMs and stuff like that. They hallucinate this, that, but that's not going to be forever, right? So I don't know, man. I look at their business model as in trouble. I don't know, Joe.
I totally agree with you on the market share standpoint, but when it comes to Google, you're such a giant. There's always going to be a factor, like they may be lagging, they're a little bit late to the dance, but when you're the best of the best, you always find a way to stay on top, right? And I think that's this case. We're going to talk more about this, guys, because this is really interesting, but we're going to go to Adair, but then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little more Google.
We're going to do our midday happening now segment. We're going to look at what's happened so far in what's been a very exciting session. We do have the Qs here recovering up about 0.2%. S&P 500 also strong here, but the Q is well outperforming them as of today. We have earnings on watch tonight. AMD, Alphabet, as just discussed there by Joe and Sharif, also reporting after the bell, along with Chipotle and Visa. Earnings season really is upon us, but there are a lot of other things to be aware of. We did get some economic data earlier today as well. Joel's job openings lower than expected, complete with a downward revision. Well, we had a higher than expected consumer confidence print there as well. In terms of tickers on watch, DJT, nice V-shaped recovery, currently up almost 14%, headed for that $55 level. This name is on watch with just 1 week until the U.S. election. The majority shareholder and namesake of Trump Media, Donald Trump, is the Republican candidate. Also keep an eye on this stock with regards to a reported interview between his vice presidential running mate, J.D. Vance, apparently set to take the Joe Rogan podcast on. So keep an eye here at DJT with that potential Rogan interview. GME also on watch here, though. This one curling back a little bit to the 2270 area. We have that midday pump with GME or GameStop over the last few days. This is a name that gets a lot of retail attention. Last but not least, INTC down about 1%, trying to recover. Initially, we had some earlier catalysts on this with Rosenblatt maintaining a sell with a $17 price target. The company also apparently investing $300 million in China for expanding chip operations. So keep an eye here on INTC. Also, a lot of those names in the GLP-1 space on watch here too. Eli Lilly announcing positive Alzheimer's results, and VO getting hit with an FDA investigation, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Appreciate it. Always dropping hot lines, Mitchell. But I want to build on your point. First of all, thank you, Mashworth. I appreciate the kind words, brother. Sometimes just life has a way of throwing you curveballs. It threw me a curveball yesterday, but I'm doing better today. But I want to support your argument a little bit. And a guy in the chat there, I think his name is Chatan or something like that. He making a really good point. I'm using YouTube a lot more. I'm just speaking personally. I don't know if everybody else is.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that.
But I'm just using YouTube all the time, Joe, whether it's on my TV, because it's built in now, right? Or the computer on my phone. So they got us from that way. And YouTube's a monster.
Absolute monster, right? So again, we were just mentioning it. I think when you're at the top like that, you can have this negative sentiment around the stock a lot. But when you're such a giant and you hold so much market share like YouTube, everybody's on YouTube, and like, look, we're you know what I mean? So it's really, it's so hard, even though and they've done it with everybody like Apple, Amazon, Meta, right? So when these extremely strong stocks have this negative sentiment, it's like, okay, it's one bad quarter, but at the end of the day, in the long run, in my humbled opinion, they will always come out on top. They got Waymo now. They say, okay, well,
that's
Waymo, right? So it's like Waymo, but hey, Google Maps. I don't know. Do you use iPhone Maps or Google Maps?
Okay, I use Google Maps, and let me tell you, it's improving. Have you noticed how you can report stuff now and it asks
it's getting better. It's and Sundar is it's only hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correct. he has to change the search engine on Google. That's absolutely. And I heard him mention that that is coming, I'm pretty sure, in the new year. It is absolutely outdated. I've mentioned this before, right? He is lagging his peers, and that's totally fine. But remember, Apple wasn't the first one to have messaging or text messaging or something, or a camera phone, right? But they became the best at it at the end of the day, right?
You don't have to be first, but you're the best.
You don't have to be first. Let everybody else, let all these different waves come in and then build off of what they are, and then you have the money. There's no shortage of cash, so that's why I think they will always be at the top of the game. It's just a bad quarter. Who cares? I think that they will supplement for that eventually in the near future.
Yeah. Look, bro, if they can continue to bring in the same ad revenue through a different way, I just hope that, you know, the way they change chat, maybe probably like that Gemini look, that LLM, I just hope they do a lot better of a job on future versions of Gemini, because it's not good. And I'm just saying that genuinely, as someone who used it every day for 8 months, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's pale in comparison to ChatGPT.
Absolutely. And it's lagging its peers, and we talk about this, but so many analysts say we're not even at the bottom of the first inning of this stuff,
Well
right?
said,
Like
man.
we're warm up, right? Like this is we just started with all the AI revolution started a couple years ago, like when everybody started buzzing about it with NVDA and all these chips and all these new large language models literally only started a couple years ago, right? Like I only knew about ChatGPT like a year and a half ago or something like that. So we're not even in the flip phone stage. We're not even in the car phone stage. We're not even in the pager stage. Matter of fact, we might be even using Morse code at this point. No, but seriously, on the scale of things, you know what I mean? Like so in the grand scheme of things, this is Morse code. This is just starting.
Yep. Hey, look, dude, you're not wrong, man. I mean, especially when you want to compare the AI to what people envision AGI, artificial general intelligence, it's not even going to be close.
No.
So yeah, your point well taken, man.
So.
All right, Donald John Trump just popped up, Fabian, right into 54. I think in 2/3, it looks like. I was looking at getting my beak wet at 53. I put an order out for 53.05. It didn't work its way down. Their worst it could do, I believe, was the fifth of a dollar. 53.20, 53.18, something like that. It missed my order, so I didn't want it second time around because I was looking to scalp here. Tape was moving too quickly for my liking. It looks like as if, though, we're on the way up here. 13 3/4, looking for more. DJ Dang T. It just took out the high of the day. 54.63 is now the high of the day. We just printed that. No, incorrect. Yeah. We just printed that. Not that long. 54.63. That is now the high, but keep your eye out for that 57 and change. That was the pre-market high. Let me give you the exact level. 57.50 exactly was the high that we printed in the pre-market. It was at 8:15. I want to see if it was on volume. Sorry, just give me a sec to see what the volume was on that candle. Yeah, it was decent. 670,000 shares in 5 minutes in the pre-market. So it's not like you can make the argument it was on light volume there. So keeping my eye certainly out on DJT. It looks like it's just headed up, bro. Here comes that high again as this one works right into that half dollar. This gets exciting, man. I love these kind of meme stocks. They give you stuff to trade during the midday, and that is a good look. Still involved in goggles at the moment, looking for a possible move into 169, Joe. Not one penny of this trade is going to go against me. The stop's already moved up. Neil likes to use trailing.
Put on some size there. Too. Let's go.
You know, that's not my role, but
straight to the buy side.
So to be honest with you, I know Neil loves to use the trailing stops, and I think he uses it very effectively for his style. I'm going to pack my patience and either let myself get stopped out right at my entry, or we work up into that high 168 or like 169 area. Pack my patience, but it does look like we might be making those lower highs. Keep an eye out. We still haven't changed the trend. The trend off that initial crest that we put in at 11:15, quarter after the hour, it's been lower high, and again lower high, even with lower lows with a VWAP bounce or not, Joe. It's still
lower.
Yeah, seriously though, right? So I'm keeping my eye on this one. If I can get something in the high 168, I'll be happy. Otherwise, we're gonna have to get stumped out.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Sharif. And I don't know. We're just gonna play it cool here, my friend.
Enjoying yourself,
we're just having a good
Dude's
cool
enjoying
time
himself
here, right? So guys, IBIT is crawling up, sitting around under 41.41 right now. So that's a beautiful stuff. But let's hop back into reality for a second. And I want to mention something that I was referring to earlier when someone asked me about books to read. So this is a key component that I'm going to point out here, is that you see these indecision candles. So once you get into the world of technical analysis and chart reading, that you'll notice that when Neil and all the boys are talking about topping tail and bottoming tail candles, these are very key signals, guys. So this is exactly what I'm looking at. Do I want to short NVDA? I don't know. One thing that I would definitely like to see a little bit more on this is that an isolated volume signature. The volume is really low. So, I mean, another term that they use is cause and effect and effort and result, right? So you want to see we have a pretty decent effort and the effort and volume, and then the result in the candle. So that's one thing that you always want to keep an eye on. And then so what we have is we don't have much of an effort, but the result in this candle, we still have a little bit of buying pressure. I want to see that close as a complete inverted hammer there, so that I have a little bit more conviction, and I want to see this volume candle, this volume by time candle, a little bit more isolated. That's just around average volume, guys. I'm not saying that it's not going to pull back, but what from my data set and what I have in experience is that this can be potentially broken to the top side. So what I would look for this, if this was an isolated signature, is I would look to short from up here, but we don't have that isolated volume signature, guys. So that's why I'm just going to wait a little bit. The overall market is extremely strong. I'm not saying that it won't go down, and I'm not saying that it will go up. But one thing is just keep in mind, and then keep in mind that you can see these things and depict what the next potential move is going to be. DJT is absolutely still crawling to the top side, up 14.5% on the day. And I mean, hey, the market isn't up crazy today, Sharif. We're only up about 0.5% on the Qs and about 0.13% on the SPY. So even though we're trending up, there's no crazy volatility. We're not getting those crazy volatile movements. And I mean, look at NVDA. We're only up about 0.75% on the session, and we've been roaring to the top side. So, guys, that's always one good thing to look at. So when the volatility starts to slow down, and then that's when you start getting these trending markets. But other than that, I'm going to keep my eyes on NVDA here. We're going to see if we break this level here around 41.5, Sharif, and then we're going to take a short, my friend. What are you cooking up? I'm
keeping my eye out on a new small cap gapper. There's two I want to talk about right now. The first one I'm going to talk about is not new. It's RILY. The reason I'm interested in it, is because it's at VWAP. The first time I think it's actually done a VWAP touch, this 3-candle pattern right now, but it is low on liquidity. The volume is low, so that's keeping me a little bit concerned about it. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to use Neil's strategy here of getting it on the back end. I'm not going to punch in for a possible VWAP hold. It's going to have to prove to me, yes, this is a level, and now I'm going back up. By definition, I get a worse price when I do that, but that seems like a fair trade-off to me. RILY up 16.87, not the biggest mover. There's another one, also not the biggest percentage mover. TALK, Talkspace, $500 million market cap. A good look. I mean, we closed out yesterday at 270. We weaseled up to 335. That looks like a buy program to me, man. But the buy program looks like it shut off at 1120 because now we're whiffling and waffling while we couldn't even print a red candle to spare us here on the way up. But now it's kind of doing this retracement. I want to see if there's a level of note here, like does it find support at the 10, the 20? It's kind of in the middle between both. So I don't want to jump into this one too quick, but it does have my attention now. TALK and RILY. Then there's the other ones that are not, breaking down. WGS, well above VWAP. It's looking good, but it's too expensive. Same thing with THC. Very good retracement here on THC to the 20 exponential. And there's obviously something to be had here, whether it was a long or short. You could try to take it off that 155.50 for a 20 hold, or you could wait for a neckline break and take the short 154.50. Wait for that neckline to break. It kind of looks like maybe setting up double topish. I don't know. Maybe set up for a VWAP dip at around 153. You also have price action support out that 153 area from earlier. So there's a whole bunch of small cap gappers, but none that are setting up great that I feel really comfortable jumping into. Let's have a look at some of the large caps at the moment. Looks like Goggles is sadly breaking down into the 40s over here. We're long 29s. I've taken out the majority of the position. So if it works right back, if it works into my my level, I'm out. I'm not holding any of this. I hope you are green if you trade THC. Does it get a puff pass? Ooh. Get it, Adara. If I had that Katina smoke animation, I'd be hitting it right now. But the Katina man, he keeps that one under lock and seal, baby. He doesn't want anyone hitting that one except him. No, I'm kidding. Of course, he's very generous with his things. That's why he let me have one of these, bro. That's him right there, bro. Yo, dude, I used to troll the dude so hard in the chat when it was a viewer, be like, yo, bro, why aren't you spending the money? I'd be just annoying him. The dude's trying to trade. I'm just sitting there bugging him for that money. Anyway, man.
Money.
So keeping my eye on Riley Joe. Looks like it might be holding up generally. Fabian in that 660 area or whatever, but it's going to have to hold up. Put in a couple of green candles on the 5 for me to get interested there. What are you guys looking at in the chat? Yeah. Throw in some names. We're going to throw in a second, but tell me what you guys are looking at. Tag Joe or I so we could have a look at the tickers. If there's anything moving that we don't have eyes on, I'd love to know. But for now, we're going to throw it up to Adair. Hey.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health.
OGs there, Firefly, man. They're trying to do the most, man. Yep. Brain health, super important.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, we talk about that every time. It wouldn't be a Firefly ad read if I didn't say that again, Joe.
Yeah, so there you go.
What's up with
our guy Greg the Fifth there, he said he's flat at the moment. He's waiting for Tesla to set up. So that guy is patient. That's why he is so good at what he does, is because he waits for those things to come to him, guys. And that's a part of trading, is just you let the price come to you, you wait for your setup, you game plan in the morning, and then you take those trades. So, guys, that's what he's up to. Don't be afraid to tag him in the chat, man. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. Sharif, NVDA is making new highs of day. This thing is absolutely just crawling to the top side, making a new high a day here. And that's exactly why I didn't quite take the short, guys. I didn't have the setup that I was exactly looking for. I was talking about volume price analysis, and this is key. I told you that this volume signature was not isolated enough. I needed to see more volume. I needed to see this topping tail candle close decisively, fully, and not have any sort of buying pressure in it whatsoever, and it had that. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. That's a really key signals, and the more that you study this theory, I guess I can say, the more you'll see the little nuances in what you need to do in order to execute it correctly. So those are things you want to keep an eye out. I'm not saying that it won't pull back, but again, those are the things that you just want to keep an eye on. We got DJT, guys, slowly starting to pull back a little bit. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Perfect. Because we're talking about volume price analysis, this is absolutely key, guys. Look at this 5-minute. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what you want to see. You see this extreme selling, and then you have the pivot with the isolated volume signature. This can signal a potential turnaround, and then look what it does. I mean, there's a couple that say, hey, they may be faked out, and you have this isolated one as well too, but you can see that there still is a little bit of selling pressure in the hammer candle, so it didn't fully close. But on this one, it fully closed, and then you have that big isolated pivot compared to the average volume on that one. So that is a really important look there. That's one of my key trade books. Some of the best trades that I've put on have been from this style of trading. My friend, what do you got going on?
We're going to give DJT another try here, try to hold 53. There seems to be a seller in the low 20s. I thought I saw them at 23. There was a bit of a hold up there. Not really going to give this that much room. We're going to give this one just a little bit below the whole dollar, but looking for generally that 53 area to hold. Reason I'm even looking at 53, kind of the same reason we were looking at 52, was an incremental level of resistance on the way up. If we cleared it by some distance, and I would gauge that we did with that 54.50 pop and drop, well, then maybe we hold it. And there it is, Joe. We got the fill right away into that area. But look, there's a lot of zig and zag right now, so I'm a little concerned because it did pop up and fill me at the $0.25, but then it dropped quick as you dang like. So I don't like the look of that at all. That felt like somebody was selling up multiple storms in that area there. So let's see if we can work our way up again. Lots of volatility on DJT today, kind of to be expected, obviously. So we'll pack our patience with that. Looking for this one to give me something around the third of a dollar now that we got the $0.25 printed. Here, back up into the quarter. Let's see now if we can work up a little bit more. 23s again. So that same seller looks like they showed back up in the 20s, in the low 20s. It's generally 22, 23. Now it looks as if it's 20. Here comes 28. Wow, we print. There it is again. Move up again, baby. Happy with this trade. Let's take out some more up here. Boom. All right. Oh, I took out everything, Joe. That's not good.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my thing, so we won't be too bad about that. But anyway, look to re-enter into this one if it does set up properly. Let's go back to Goggles now. What is Goggles doing? Goggles is at the $0.50 and it's putting in a gnarly little dark pool over here. So we're going to have to adjust this one. What is this? The low there is at around 168.47. So we're going to have to adjust this bad boy because I can't analyze like that. 168, there we go, 47. And we'll adjust that bad boy. Yeah, Google is coming down over here. I'm not really liking this at all. This lower high, lower low formation is just not for me. VWAP hold or not, I'm not liking how this is trading at all over here. So we're long 29s, we're printing 50s. Yeah, this is just, I'm dying to get stopped out on this. I mean, like for sure this is gonna drop down. So I'll keep my eye on this one. Yeah, I paper-handed this one completely on DJT. Didn't mean to take out the entire thing there, but yeah, there it goes, right back up into that 53 and change, but we'll look to do a little bit better there. Let's have a look at the other one that we were talking about, Riley. It does look like it might be holding up here. So I've given it now how many candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 candles at VWAP now on Riley. I'm getting long here. And if it drops down anything below 55s, I'm out. So that's what I'm looking at there. RILY, it's not doing a whole lot of volume, but it is respecting the volume weighted average price with every closing print north of it. So we're going to give this one the old call. Try. Get it, Adara.
Keep an eye on Worksport here. WKSP, this one announcing that they're seeing over 200% growth here, apparently in business-to-business sales. They also have announced their newly initiated pre-order campaign for their AL4 premium covers. So new update here with regards to this cover available via a pre-order campaign, which has just been initiated. Also apparently forecasting 200% growth in their B2B sales. WKSP, guys.
WKSP, that looks interesting there. Keep an eye on that one.
We'll have to take a look on that one for sure. I have a question from Pathik Sangivi. Options question for Joe. My IV crushes 320% on DJT. Call for $52 with a theta of 0.92. How bad is that for any options trade? Chance of making money. I need a little bit more detail within that. I mean, it's not sounding too pretty, but I mean, there's ways you can mitigate that risk, right? So if you have your calls, you can just sell some calls at some strikes higher. You're not going to collect too much premium, but just wait. This thing is memeing. And if you just want my honest opinion, just avoid those meme stocks, especially with leverage derivatives. And I'm just going to leave it as flat as that, Shreve. I mean, you're messing around with options on this thing, and those have time decay. So if you're looking to mitigate your downside on that, then you're going to have to look to hedge your position, and we're going to talk about hedging this Thursday. So
funny.
Yeah, he's ready. Wayner's buzzing. Yeah, Wayner's buzzing. So we're having a good time now. But back to being serious, guys. Patrick, I mean, it's going to be tough, right? The volatility on this thing is picking up, and I don't know if you bought within high volatility. It seems like you bought it when it's relatively low. and you're getting crushed by IV now. So I mean, and if your contracts are starting to expire and are near expiry and you're not in the money, then I don't know. There's ways you can mitigate that risk. Start selling some calls against that position, get a little bit of premium, but then also set a stop on the calls because you don't want to lose the full 100% value of those contracts, right? Just get out of it. Unfortunately, you just have to accept those losses and then look to take on something else.
You got a great question there in the chat.
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma, thank you for the $2 super chat. Rohit, he goes, Joseph, good time to consider straddle strategy on, I'm assuming, Google.
Yeah. I think it's a great time if you're looking to employ that strategy on Google. I don't know how much. We'll take a look at it later and see what the expected move is on Google. But don't forget the options market always prices that in. The one thing that I will mention is that because the sentiment of that is really bad around Google, if these guys beat anything to the top side, then it can absolutely send this stock soaring, right? So if they beat expectations, I know our guy JB was going at it with our girl Deirdre yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They were.
JB cut his position on goggles.
He trimmed,
Yeah,
but
he trimmed.
He's been in it forever,
Yeah.
right? So he's like he's doing fine in the stock.
What was
He
Deidre's position?
Well, Deidre was saying that like, hey, people aren't gonna do like people don't like change, right? So they're gonna stick to Google in an aspect that like, hey, we don't have to sign up. There's no subscriptions. You're not paying monthly subs, right? Okay. So people like to stick to what they know, and that Google will eventually pick up and catch up to its peers. But Josh Brown's counter to that was Apple. That's all he had to say was Apple Intelligence. And then that's all he had to say. He pretty much a mic drop at that point. Was
Josh,
like,
he's trolling, bro. Him and Batnick were crapping all over Apple 3-4 months ago. All of a sudden,
but now he's like, but you know, JB's got a position in it.
Sure.
And then all he has to say is Apple. I'll counter you, DJ, and Apple is just gonna dominate this IA.
But
AI
let's
race.
give Google a little bit of credit. I'll play devil's advocate. They got a good ecosystem just like Apple. Like, for example, I'm on Google Docs all the time. I don't even use Microsoft Word anymore. Like, I had a 365 subscription 1 year. Yeah, Fabian, shout out. Because I don't use it no more. And then, obviously, I'm stuck in Gmail. We use, in this office, we're using Google Chat. Like, I'm ensconced in that system, too, you know? So
well, I know we were talking about Google Slides the other day, but that is super beta mode compared to PowerPoint.
Well, fair.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Fair,
it's
fair.
not even
It is,
relative. It's not even close.
For free 99 says baby. Yeah. It's a good point.
It's
I want to
free,
shout
just
out
pay for
Nicole
shit.
Harris.
Oh.
Shout out to Hotland. Nicole Harris, $5 super chat. Don't forget, Apple created Bitcoin, laughing on Apple computers. Bitcoin white papers, simpledoc.pdf. What mining stock should I do Leaps and BTBT, Hut, or Riot? I'm going to leave that to you.
Wow.
Because that's kind of your situation
Riot,
over there.
Leaps. I would probably go with Riot on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. But these miners, hey, just wait. Nicole Harris, why don't you just wait for me? Wait, and we'll do this. Actually, I shouldn't say that, but we'll get into those IBIT calls at the same time. So wait for those. Stay away from the miners. I'm sure that they'll eventually start picking up margins and stuff like that, but I don't know. You have to have a lot in the inventory, I think, in order to be more successful now, right? Because you could be a little bit lagging in that, and now that the reward is significantly less and going to continue to be significantly less in the foreseeable future, then maybe just stick to the underlying asset.
Respect that. All right, you heard it here first. She said okay. Shout out to Nicole. All right, guys, we're doing okay here on Riley. It's nothing to write home about or get too excited about, but we did take it out on the dip. We did get in, on the dip. I got in, where did I get in? 64s, wet my beak at 70s. Got the next pop here at 75s. We did cross, we got into 77s, but because of the illiquidity on RILY, I wasn't able to get printed for my second out at 75, so we're gonna pack our patience, see if we can get a print there. Still showing 70 on the ask, 67 though now on the bid. Looking for this one to hold VWAP and to work its way back up. But, you know, I don't have too much behind it because of the lack of illiquidity, so I have to account for that with the size. My main man, Adam DeLuce, Sharif, listening to you guys is great. Just having a pizza now and waiting for a setup. Dude, you live the dream. So he told me kind of like what he does and how he's running that the biz
The
and
hedge,
yeah, exactly. And the dude's killing it. So shout out to Adam, man. We missed having you around. I think the Katina man made that point very clear earlier about that. So shout out to Adam DeLuce, killing it. Waiting for
let's chill on the pizza talk though. All right, we don't want to we don't want to get any ideas out there.
See, we got salmon today in the back. Hey, it look good, bro. They look good.
And I know, but.
Okay, Adara, what do you got?
What is that in the back there?
So we're going to take a look at our small cap segment, the afternoon or midday edition. If there are any tickers that you guys are looking at small cap or otherwise that you want to know Sean and Neil's takes on or what the catalyst was, all you have to do is vote in the chat. You have about an hour and 20 minutes left to do so. Go in the chat, !join, space $, and the ticker of your choice. The top 5 tickers will be on that rundown at 2 p.m. with Sean, Neil, and Sharif. We have the IWM down about 0.7%. We have not gotten past that level of 222, which has been kind of key lately at all since opening. Bit of a rounded top as well here for that Russell 2000 so far. The first 2 tickers here are going to be small caps in that crypto space, starting with CAN. Canaan, this is an ADR based out of Singapore. Looks like it's moving here in sympathy with crypto because it is in that crypto space. $346 million market cap with a short float of about 16.2%. So pretty significant short float for crypto sympathy play CAN. Another crypto sympathy play with its own catalyst is HIVE. This company a bit larger, just over $500 million market cap, $519 million, I believe. Getting a overweight rating and a $9 price target from Cantor Fitzgerald, so almost double where they're trading right now. Also working on increasing their hash rate and their AI focus. So HIVE with about a 4.6% short float on watch. Last but not least, LAC, Lithium Americas, up about 16%, announcing that they've closed a $2.26 billion loan from the DOE. It's worth noting here that's actually larger than their market cap, which is just over $1 billion. And they have about a 14% short float here. Again, any tickers that you like, go in the chat and vote !join, space $, and your ticker, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Dara.
Love it.
Appreciate that. Keeping my eye here on RILY. It didn't print me at 75s, and now we're down to 58s. Anything below 55s, I'm gone, and the ask is already at 56. So I'm not really going to hold on to this and try to guess to see if it break. Yeah, this is going to break down over here, waiting for that ask to drop below 55s. That's how I'm going to get stopped out. There we go. Now I'm stopped out of this one. So this will be my first loser of the day. We'll take it on the chin. A bit of a tougher one there. Yeah, the liquidity issue is a bit of a problem with our RILY. So we'll look to do a little bit better, Joe. But what was that? I want to mention something here super quick. Someone wrote something in the chat I want to answer, but I'll look at it after. Anything you're looking at?
Yeah, I was speaking of the chat. We have Matt Florence in the chat talking about his Google calls. Says, Joe, I have this 160 call. He bought for $7.65, now worth $10.70. Good on you. He wants to know if he should sell a call and do a debit spread so he can hold on to this position for earnings. Well, my friend, you are up almost 50% on the position. You have 2 weeks until expiry. Do you want to hedge a position that's already 50%, you already have a 50% gain on? In my opinion, no. Just because you want to hold it through earnings, I mean, you could see some substantial gains, but again, what we were talking about, if they miss the ad revenue, etc., then this stock could sell off. In my opinion, there's always going to be another trade, Matt, my friend. So 50% gain on that contract, there's nothing wrong with locking in that, closing it up, and then assessing the situation after the report, right? There's always going to be another trade that you can figure something out, and there's a lot that you can do, especially after letting that print form, after you get the prints and the reports, then you can assess and then you can build a thesis off of that. So in my opinion, what I would do is you only have 2 weeks until expiry, just a little bit more. Expires on the 15th. Don't let Theta chew that up too much. Maybe just lock in that profit. Close that contract and then just wait. That's a beautiful trade, man. Congratulations to you. You sell that for $10, $11 and you paid under $7 or just over $7 for it. That's a good trade in my opinion. Lock in those profits and assess the technicals and the situation after the report.
Robbie V asks, Joseph, Tesla. Where do you see support for TSLA? So TSLA, by far the worst performing Mag 7 name today. It's down 2 1/3. The only other one that's red is the dead one, Apple, and it's only 0.08%, so essentially flat. This headline came in. Tesla extends 0% loans in China. Will it help hit 1.81 million vehicles in 2024? So obviously you don't extend 0% financing loans unless you are having a demand issue. So maybe that's what's being interpreted negatively here by the market. We've all heard these Chinese electric vehicle makers closing the gap between them and Tesla. And, you know, some are doing quite well. I'm not going to go into a dissertation into that right now, but there it is. This headline came in at 12:31. I believe maybe it was a little earlier. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here. Tesla trades lower after some insiders adopt trading plans. What? Trading plans to sell shares. Oh, so there might be some insider selling. Chair Robin Denholm and directors Kathleen Wilson Thompson, Kimball Musk, obviously Elon's brother, filed under Rule 10b5-1 for plans to sell about 1.13 million shares of Tesla. That would amount to about $300 million if all 3 trading plans are executed to completion. So a couple of headlines right now on TSLA, nothing market moving, or maybe it is. Anyway, long story short, I would look at 255, Rob. Only reason is I think we found a nice little support there in the pre, not yesterday, but I believe on Friday on the 25th. So let's see if that ends up holding up. We'll find out more, though, once we get back from Adair at the big desk.
FLX near high of days here, and actually around this 757 area that was a bit of an area of interest when we had those new all-time highs on earnings a couple weeks ago here. Variety reporting that Netflix and Comcast have announced a renewal of their extending licensing deal, but this new deal will give Netflix U.S. rights to live-action films from Universal Pictures and Focus Features, and these rights will start, quote, no later than 8 months following the theatrical releases. So Netflix will get these rights to Universal and Focus Features movies up to 8 months early. So good look here for NFLX. Pushing into new day's highs. Volume a bit lighter, though. I think barely just scraping the surface of 1 million shares on the day, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara.
Yeah, and thank you, Jay, for the $1 super chat.
Joseph, I don't know if you noticed, but we did a quick drop below 20,600 on the future.
Yeah.
Andre, it was an interesting look over here. We dipped right down, a hammer candle forming right now. And I know Adam was looking at the future earlier. He liked the kind of the candle. I think this is a nice setup here. Wow. That's a nice little dip by 20,585 on the future. And now we're working our way right back above that 600-point level. I like to chart these 100-point levels as areas of support and resistance, potential areas of support and resistance. I also like the high, the low, and the closing print. And then Dan, the dang man Emmons, haven't seen him in the chat in a hot minute. He would also submit to you the implied balance high and the implied balance low. That is essentially the high and low after 1 hour of trading, wherever that high and low may be. So if we open up at 9:30, typically we're looking for the high and the low created in that 1 hour from 9:30 to 10:30 Eastern, obviously. So good look right now on the NQ with that quick dip in below 600, and now we're getting bought back up. So keeping my eye on this one. Go Goggles. Ooh. Goggles is almost at the high of the day. Get it, Adara. So let's see what we got over here on our friend Goggles. Yeah, I didn't want to take this one out, Joe, for exactly that reason. Let's go ahead. That guy, bro. I said Goggles, and you went right for it. You went right for it. I love it, bro. Yeah, so Goggles right back up, baby. This is the last beak weather we had was right here, so it makes no sense to me to take anything out here. Let's try for 169. I don't get 169, that's fine. I'll get stopped out. I'm good with that. Come what may. What are you looking at, Joe?
I'm actually just, because we were talking a little bit about Tesla here, and we're talking about volume price analysis and everything. We got earnings. So I just want to do a small correlation from a daily standpoint here, guys. As you can see, This is exactly what we want to see in a genuine move. We have the increase in volume as we're appreciating in price. But as you guys can see, the pullback on this volume is diverging, right? So as we're going down in price, the volume is declining. I like to see this. Why? Why do I like to see this, Sharif? Because that means at some point, if they do, and when buyers step in, we're going to see an increase in volume. So I would just classify this as a small pullback. Now, I understand there's a key level at 272 that we need to break through, and we're going to need to break through it with momentum. So this pullback here on declining volume is a good signal. I like this signal because I think that when we decide to start moving to the top side, then we're going to go. I'm getting distracted by the chat because everybody's going on about AMD. So we're gonna AMD. So we're gonna pull up. What are you guys freaking out about? I don't see what it's pulling
popped
back.
Up big, bro. Did you not see that from one?
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, and the volume steps in. Yeah, I went to almost touched
going nuts over here.
165. Yeah, almost went to 165. All right, so I got some dark pools here, but guys, it's since pulled back. So don't get me going too much about. You got some news on it?
Yeah, it's not AMD specific. It's with Broadcom. OpenAI using AMD chips alongside NVIDIA chips, says the source. Whoa. So that's good. That's good. It's obviously good. They're going to use AMD's chips. I think that's good for you. I think that's good for whoever's holding AMD. OpenAI, in my humble opinion, is the king of the AIs right now, or the LLMs, I should say. So that's a good look, Joe. That's good for you there.
That's Sammy A, no?
Pardon me?
That's Sammy A, Sammy Altman.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Elon says don't trust Sam Altman, so.
I like Sam, bro, and I like Elon as well. But look, feel however you want about Sam and whatever happened in the fall last year, and that whole thing with the board, this, that, and the other. But I know his product is the most quality product out there right now. So
it's definitely legit. Yeah. I mean, we can't really talk bad about him. He's a revolutionary guy, right? He's definitely he's up there, but. He went to correct me on this, but he went from it being free to now being you almost have to pay for it. So
so it's still free.
Yeah. Okay.
You get ChatGPT, you get 4.0, and then
open source is the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
So you get 4.0, but you have a maximum amount of queries for 4.0, and then if you exhaust those, you go down to 3 or 3.5, something like that. But you can pay obviously and get that 1.0 and stuff like that. And then if you use too much of 1.0. You get downgraded to 4.0.
So that's why Elon was all upset. It went from open source to potentially a closed source.
Oh, you're talking about that whole thing. Yeah. Well, dude, that's an entirely different thing because now people are talking about incorporating as a charity, Joe, and then working your way into a for-profit company.
Yeah, for-profit once you're a nonprofit.
Right. So that's a whole thing in and of itself. People are talking about that as a move to be able to, protect your profits, protect yourself from tax. So that's a whole untested thing. Yo, you bring up a really good point there.
So there we go.
I'm done with my Google trade, guys. We took it out at 92s. I'm really happy with this trade. We didn't want to wait to 169. So they're done with this goggles trade through that. It was a VWAP hold on this one. I didn't get the best price, but I packed my patience for the last remaining amount. And good look for the future because we really defended that 20,600. I was unsure. Once we did this kind of hammer candle down into, I believe, the low 80s, 20,005, low 80s or mid 80s, we're right back into that kind of mid 30s pop, 20,600 mid 30s right there, about 10 points away or so from that HOD on the NQ December contract. 44s is where it's at. Bro, have you looked at Apple? What is going on here? Can you tell Can you tell people are holding on to the earnings report?
Yeah,
they don't want to do nothing.
I mean, from an intraday standpoint of any volume steps in there, Sharif, I'm looking to play the breakout on that. That is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, we like that sideways price movement. And you're not even in Google. So
no,
yeah,
I'm done. I finished my Google trade. Yeah,
too much money on it. Too much money on it. You had to get out.
Not even.
You had to get out. So guys, iBit is still crawling. It's still holding these highs. Now I don't like what I'm seeing on AMD right now. The volume's starting to pick up as the price is declining. Let's see if we can hold this 162.5 level and then maybe continue to the northeast. But as of right now, we're selling on pretty heavy volumes, so I'm going to avoid this one from now. I haven't taken too many trades today, guys.
Broadcom.
Broadcom.
Broadcom's flying.
There we go. So Broadcom's flying now. We'll pull up AVGO here. What a day this has been.
This, bro.
Oh my day. Why are they flying?
Because of that.
The thing with the, okay, all right. So same thing. So I don't know. Why is AMD selling and Broadcom decides that it wants to continue moving to the top side? So let's pull up SOXL actually here. Now that, because I know this was an Adara and Sharif favorite. SOXL, and I actually closed my position not too long ago, and this thing has been on an absolute tear for the session, up about 4.5%. So this thing has been trading really well. There's nothing wrong with that. So the semis are absolutely in play. NVDA has been trading higher, making all-time highs. AMD is holding the 162 levels really well. Broadcom is now ripping. So an absolutely beautiful look on the market today, guys. And IBIT is what I have my eyes on, brother. What are you picking up?
I know you're pumped about that. I'm looking at DJT, dude, because we got a quick wick into the volume weighted average price on DJT. It did breach. It did also breach $51. Here's the 5-minute chart on DJT. What's going on?
New high a day on IBIT. Let's go.
We're gonna drop the cash, bro.
Man.
Dude, I just want to know when we break that all-time high, right? I want
we're going there. At this point, we're gonna be there very shortly, sitting under 73,000. So we got about $1,000 to go. And then
did you hear that, Fabian? We're very close to all-time highs, my man, on BTC. So Fabian's pumped. He said nice. No, for real though. Here's DJT chart. This one dips into about 50 3/4, thereabouts. Now we're right back up into 52, almost in 2/3. So a quick $2 retracement on Donald John Trump. I mean, I wasn't setting up for anything on this, so I'm not going to pretend like, I missed the trade or anything, but that is a great look. DJT has about, a little bit retracement down into VWAP, a predictable level. Let's see if it's able to make a new high above the previous 5-minute candle. That's 53 1/3. It prints 53 1/3, then we're done our lower highs and lower lows because then we print a new high. So DJT certainly on watch. I'm going to keep that obviously close as we look to take trades on that. TALK though, man. I don't want to jump into this even though it is really holding up well. Look how far away from VWAP it is. So it's not being met with aggressive selling. But my only concern about TALK is it's going to do the same thing as Riley because it's low on volume and then the dip drops off. I don't want that smoke. I'd rather trade something with more liquidity. If that means taking more volatility in Donald John Trump, then so be it. So I'm going to keep my eyes there. Your boy Apple, though, is breaking out through that 233 2/3 because the market's on one, looking to take out that high a day on the NQ December contract. So good look there. We're going to have to put Broadcom up on one of these charts over here, even though it's not a small cap capper. To look, what the hell is Broadcom doing, bro? Uninterrupted to the high side. Good move up, 3 3/4 right now for AVGO. Keep your eye on that. Adaro's got something for us at the big desk.
On Broadcom, so we do have a report from Reuters saying that OpenAI is working with Broadcom, AVGO, and TSMC. So Broadcom and Taiwan Semi are working here with OpenAI to help OpenAI build its first in-house chip, which will basically help support its artificial intelligence systems. They're also going to be adding AMD and NVIDIA chips to meet infrastructure demands. So Reuters being told here that OpenAI is primarily working with Broadcom and TSM, though NVIDIA and AMD chips will also be involved for OpenAI's first artificial intelligence systems, or in-house artificial intelligence systems there with chips, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Yeah, we will let everybody know because people were yelling about AMD's movement, so we had to see what was up with that. But thank you again, Adair. That was a lot more detailed there than last time. We just had like a little one-liner there. Yeah. So what are you looking at, Joe?
No, Ron says Apple's popping like you guys said. We were looking at it, that consolidation phase there that was going on, and that's really key. Let me pull up the Apple chart here, guys. But there's one thing that I also want to point out is because as I mentioned today, and as you guys know, I'm a big volume by time guy. It's a really key metric that you need to pay attention to. And when something is breaking out, I've mentioned this before, you want to see that volume step in. Now, what I'm seeing is the volume is starting to decline. Does that mean it's not going? Does that mean it's not going to break out? No, it definitely can break out. We have this long phase. So did it grab a bunch of liquidity and is now ready to make that move, that second leg higher? There's a very high possibility that it is. But there's one thing that I specifically would want to see at this flat top break streak is the volume to start stepping in. It is very strong, and it looks like it's going to break with conviction. Am I late to the dance on this one? Very, very much possibly, and it's looking as of right now that I am. But there is one thing that I want to see, and I need everything to connect, and in conjunction, is I need to see that volume step in order for me to gain an interest in it. What are you cooking up, my friend?
I'm looking at Hoth, Joe. Hoth just popped up. Not one that we're all that unfamiliar with. It's a former runner, HOTH, up 35%. Let me flip to the 1 minute here because I believe this one did halt. Yes, it did. So we had a 5-minute halt at $1.07. The closing print from yesterday, sub $1, around 88 pennies. We're doing the dance with no pants right now. High a day, just below that $1.25. Here is what's going on. Hoth Therapeutics. Tumor volumes remained remarkably stable over the course of the study. So it looks as if we are getting, what phase study is this? I'm just trying to look here at the blotter, guys, because the news items are so parcelized. Here it is. Hoth Therapeutics announces update on cancer therapeutic HT kit results, suggesting the treatment effectively inhibited tumor growth in preclinical treatment study. I always champion stuff like this as long as it's legit and not a cash grab and BS. Because obviously none of us want that kind of stuff around. So HOTH, guys, awfully volatile right now. Let's load it up on a trading screen to see what kind of spread we're working with over here. It looks to be okay. So let's take off Riley, weasel over to Hoth. We'll get back and talk more about Hoth when we get back from Madeira.
Keep an eye on these AI names and also Tesla. I have TSLA up here. Wall Street Journal reporting that XAI, which is an Elon Musk company here, much like Tesla, is in talks to raise funding, currently valuation of around $40 billion. So after, of course, we know we had that recent OpenAI funding round, XAI reportedly having its own, according to the Wall Street Journal, looking for a $40 billion valuation. Keep an eye on TSLA and all of these names in that AI space, guys.
Interesting look there. Have you tried XAI? Like, not XAI, excuse me, Grok?
No.
You haven't tried Grok,
No, I've never even heard of this.
It's Elon's.
Is it Elon's
yeah, I think you can
thing,
use it in the X app, the Twitter app.
Hey.
Yeah.
Is it good, or?
People are saying it's actually quite good, but I've never actually personally tried it, but I definitely want to give it a try. People are actually saying it's whimsical, it's funny, this, that, and the other. But we got bills to pay, Joseph, so let's get right to it, baby. We got Trade the Pool. All right, ready to go?
Yep, sir.
All right, guys, exciting news. Trade the Pool's giveaway winner reveal is live on the web. Head over to see if you're the lucky winner. Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And this is how it works. You complete the evaluation program by meeting those profit targets. Once you succeed, you trade the Pool's capital, which gives you the ability to trade with up to $260,000 in buying power. The best part is you keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's literally the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner, professional, or whatever. So go on and check out tradethepool.com. I went over there, and their website looks quite promising. So make sure to click that link in the description or work your way down to the bottom right corner of the screen and scan that QR code. Shout out to the good folks there. Have you been watching Mitch, Coach, in the morning? I think his name is Coke or something like that in the morning. Great analyst, bro. He's a technical analyst. He's looking at things like you and I.
What is he on? What is he on?
He's with Trade the Pool.
Okay,
He's one of their analysts, man. Great guy, dude. I'm telling you, I'm quite impressed with him.
So there we go.
Yeah, good look. Hoth is holding up, guys. We're not definitely taking out that 124, but we're not tanking either. And we're also above that 107 price level. The reason I'm earmarking 107, 106, that's a halt level. So I typically like to chart these halt levels as areas of support and resistance. I like the fact that this one is not halting to no end and rather is staying open. I also like the spread on it. It's about a 1 penny spread. I've seen it as wide as 2. but it's trading quite volatile right now. Like, look at that. It just dips down quite aggressively. Let's see if we can work into this somehow. It's going to have to establish a bit of a trend here before I get in. Otherwise, I'm kind of flying blind here, Joe. So HOTH up 33% on news, cancer news, guys. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. It's a midday popper. So this one didn't have its best trade behind it in the open or the pre-market. This one's popping up now. And sometimes those present us with a bit better trades on these small cap captures.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, brother. I took it. You know what? I was talking about Apple, and the more I looked at it, the more we talked about it. I had to take a little scalp on it. So we took a little bit. We're not going to hold too much onto this, guys. I feel that I'm a little bit late on the entry. So with that, I'm just going to take a little something and then walk away, right? So we got a little pop on it. Wasn't too heavy, and then we got stopped out, break even. I think I was a little bit late to the dance on this one, guys. So I'm not going to hold on to this any bit longer because, as you know, we were trading IBIT today, and we had a lot of fun with that. We're starting to pull a little bit in here now, but we had a beautiful trade on IBIT, holding this trend line and continuing to the top side. So hopefully this signature, this candle print and this volume signature doesn't mean anything. And then I know a lot of people are talking about BTC going to break all-time highs. So hey, let's see. And I have no doubt in my mind that within the near future that it's going to continue to move to the top side, and hopefully we break those all-time highs relatively soon, because that'd be a lot of fun for everybody on the floor here and those who are holding BTC and have IBIT in their personal accounts as well too, guys. So that's a lot of fun. We haven't really talked an overly amount of options today. So if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, especially heading into earnings, we can maybe talk a little bit about straddles, because this is when people like to play straddles is earnings. So again, we'll just touch on the basics of a straddle. So you buy a call and a put at the same strike price. Your expiry date is totally subjective, but the thing is, when you are playing the straddle, you are looking to play that increase in implied volatility, right? So if you have that expiry a little bit further out with hopes of potentially it moving to those strike prices, it's going to be very difficult, because after the earnings report, volatility starts slowly depleting. So that is more of something that you would look to do a credit-based trade after the earnings report, right? So you want to hold off on that a little bit, but just keep in mind, with your straddles, the options market is really smart. They have their expected moves priced in. So you really, really need those options contracts to exceed those expected moves in order to become really profitable on those contracts. So just be wary of that. And you'll be like, hey, I played a straddle on Google. The stock moved $5-10 or whatever it may be, but it went under the expected move. You may not be profitable on that trade because the volatility is priced into those contracts and you didn't exceed the volatility on the expected moves. So just keep an eye out on that. Very important. Joe, what is the reason for selling put credit instead of just buying call? Well, Fugazi Bear, that's a great question. Doing a bull put spread, I wouldn't suggest doing it into earnings. Like, actually don't do it at all, because you don't want to play credit into earnings. You want to play credit after earnings when the implied volatility is high. And the difference is that a bull put spread isn't as directionally biased as just a call. So when you do a bull put spread, you can buy strike prices lower, out the money strike prices, and then build a thesis saying as long as price doesn't exceed X strike, then you can still be profitable whether the asset goes up or down, right? So that's the difference, Fugazi Bear, in between just going flat out calls and doing a put spread. But the thing is, I'll look to do some credit spreads after the big reports and after all the volatility is slowly starting to come down, but it has peaked, right? But you want to go debit, if anything, going into the earnings reports, and then wait till after the reports to sell credit, my friend.
This Chetan guy in the chat's making me laugh, bro. You're good. It's just, we gotta have some sort of rules in the chat. But
why did he say something?
He's funny. He's funny. That's all. Guys, I like where is this? Insurance Casino. Yes, you called it, dude. Good call out by you, Mr. Insurance Casino, because it was holding the support that you called out. I think Mr. Insurance Casino was talking about this 110, 112 level on HOTH, and more accurate they could not be. Let me show you what I'm seeing here on the 5. Let's weasel on over to the 5-minute chart. A lot of bottoming tail candles, and that's ugly, right? But it's also telling you something else, that it's being bought up at this level. Otherwise, why would these bottoming tail candles manifest? So when you see these bottoming tail candles, especially if they close a little bit higher, that's buyer exuberance. So shout out to you, Mr. Insurance Casino. Here we go. It's going to take out the high of the day. There it did take out the high of the day. $1.25 now. Look, this is not a high flyer. We're not talking about a 100% mover yet. We're at 41%, but things could change. So now I got to weasel into this somehow. I like what it's doing. It's holding up at VWAP. It's got a catalyst. It's a midday mover. It behooves me to trade this, but I need to trade it properly. And then we just got a monster topping tail through that $1.27. So I'm going to have to work into this somehow, Joe. I'm going to build a position into this because I don't want to take a full position and then have this stop out and then, you know, be irritated. We'll talk about this when we get back from Adara. She's got some for us at the big desk.
We're going to take a look here at crypto. And of course, it would be remiss to not mention this move up in BTC, which is just shy as of right now of the 73,000 level, currently trading around 72.8. Now, looking here, looks like the next level of overhead resistance on the daily, which we got to in March 2024, would be that 73.1 area. So once we're over 73, let's see if we can make it to 73.2, at least from what I'm seeing here from those all-time highs on this BTC chart. We also, interestingly enough, we actually, this area we're at currently, we had this wick into back in April, on April 8th. That is the highest we've been. So we're making April highs right now here, 6-month highs for Bitcoin. What a way to end a nice uptrend here in this pretty strong month of October for BTC. Now, I also want to take a look at some of these other crypto names that are pumping. We have Dogecoin up about 18%. So I wanted to look at this chart. There's a nice rounded bottom here for Dogecoin, starting with this downtrend in May 2024. We find a bit of a base around the same time as crypto here, August, September. Then we push higher. Next level potentially of resistance would be this 0.182 area where we had a bit of a double top, a fake bull flag before pushing lower. Then you've got a bit of a potential previous resistance that could end up breaking out here at 0.2. So a couple areas of interest here on Dogecoin and BTC. You guys only have 50 minutes left to vote for your ticker of choice. Go in the chat, !, join space, $, and vote for whatever ticker you'd like to see Sean and Neil cover during that 2 p.m. segment, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. I like that look at Doge there. You know what else Doge stands for? Get it, Adara. Department of Governmental Efficiency, or said Elon. He's a character. We know that. It's nothing new, right?
Nothing new, but sorry to interrupt you there, my friend. But JVA, $2 super chat. Thanks for all the great work. Please see my Q in the chat. I didn't see the question. Did you see the question? You should have wrote it in the super chat. JVA.
JVA. Just tag us again, JVA.
I didn't see it. We didn't see it. We're definitely going to answer your question. And Miss Yellow Dot. Hi. Very nice to meet you as well, too. Do you know Miss Yellow Dot?
I've seen her in the chat before.
So very nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise, of course. Shout out to Miss Yellow Dot. If you are, I don't think you're newer because I think I've seen your name in the chat before.
She said it's been a while, so she's coming in. She's just tuning back in and asked who I was.
Well, she's always welcome back. Guys, we just got the auction. Thank you, Adara. What year was that? What duration? 7-year auction. Adara just threw that in the chat. 4.215 was the print, a bit of a higher print relative to the previous print, which was 3.668. We know those yields have been spiking. You know, a lot of different reasons, a lot of speculation as to why they're spiking, this, that, and the other. It's a bit of a tougher look, obviously, because it keeps some of these more, what are they called? The 10-year especially is very influential on mortgage rates. So the higher that stays up, obviously, the higher that mortgage. The 20-year, I believe it's the 30-year that's based upon that. The 30-year mortgage based upon the 10-year yield, something like that. I won't go on about this any longer. Guys, if I can show this, Andre, we're looking at Wettinger Beak here at 122. We're long 118s on Hoth. This one's I'm gonna take out just a very small amount. I'd like to see if this one wants to squeeze above that high. It's setting up nicely. It's holding that general 110, let's say, you know, one low teens area, but it's being met with some selling, obviously, in the low 20s, low to mid 20s. So let's see if we can get past that whole area, hold up, and really squeeze possibly into that buck and a third, buck and a half. I'm gonna pack my patience on this one, but I would like to de-risk across along the way. This is a smaller position. Let me just be very straightforward with you guys. I'm not holding too many shares here. I don't believe a whole lot in it. I like I like the whole setup, but I don't like the price action. I like the fact that it's a midday mover. It's got a catalyst. It's biotech related. It's cancer. So that usually gets a lot of people interested. But the price action, Joe took one look at the chart. And all he said was, bro, that's chaotic. It is chaotic. It is chaotic when you have topping tail candles and bottoming tail candles in the same candle. It's chaotic. It is. And there's a seller here of note at 121. I won't be convinced any different. Let's see if we can eat up the size there from the book. So we are taking out the size at 121. All right, now we got the print at 22s. Can we get the print at 24s? Now we're seeing 24s. We got the print at 24s, Joe. Let's see if we can weasel up a little bit more. I'm going to set up another sell at the third of $1. Let's put it up over here at the third of $1.
Let's go.
Bang! Let's see if we get that into the third of $1. I don't know what's going on.
Money.
What are you looking at, Joe?
Hey, man, you know what I'm looking at today. We're just going to keep our eyes up on IBIT, but in all reality, guys, we're going to switch it up a little bit for you guys here. Google, high of day, bang. This thing it's trading higher going into the report. I've mentioned this earlier. Don't underestimate these giants. You can have this negative sentiment going around for a little while, but at the end of the day, when you're been a monster for 18 years, expect the same. Like, they're not going anywhere. There's too much cash flow. We're gonna talk some more of this stuff right after we get back from Madeira.
Just calling this out here because I was seeing this circulating online. ASML got a volume pop, but this is actually not an ASML story. So it looks like some people had read here a headline about ASM International, ASMI. That headline was read as a positive result here for ASML. So it sent the stock up, even though the catalyst was on ASML's. So if you're looking for ASML here, there's actually no specific catalyst on this. It was an accidental sympathy play for a ticker called a company called ASMI. This is a European company, much like ASML as well, which explains the confusion. So ASML up about 1% with a pretty significant volume pop on a ticker mishap, guys.
Yeah.
Love it. Adara, you're getting love in the chat. I'm going to have to shout you out, Adara. Laura Marshall, I'm here because of Dara. She's so sweet. Let me tell you, she's a human algo too. So she knows what she's talking about. Shout out to Adara LePage, man, killing it up on the big desk on the 1s and 2s. Shout out to her. Guys, we're getting a big boy breakout here in the market. 20,682 HOD now on the NQ December contract. Joe, Apple's going. Amazon's going. Microsoft's going. You see where I'm going with this? Google's going. NVIDIA has got that 142 top, but it's near the high. It's at 140, 170. We can say it's going. Even Tesla, which has been a little depressed on the day, getting its footing back under it here. Let's look at the 5. It just took out the 10 and the 20. TSLA still putting in lower highs, though. Let's see what it does at this $259.75, $260 area. That's where VWAP is. You also have an area crest, a 3-candle holdup right at 260 earlier. Once we gave it up, we tried to get back above 260. The market did the Matumbo finger and said no. So let's see what we do when we get there. Hey,
I said that.
He rest in peace though.
I forgot he kicked the can.
Yeah, man. Nobody lives forever. Anyway, yeah. So bit of a tougher,
not yet, anyways.
Pardon me?
Not yet, anyways.
Not yet.
Our guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson said the person that is going to live forever is already alive.
Seriously,
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I tell my old man about this all the time, like, because he's got age-related macular degeneration, right? And so there's a whole bunch of stem cell, like, experimental trials going on with that. And so his doctor told him his generation, like the boomer generation, might be like the last gen that actually has to deal with this. Maybe Gen X.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Gen X, but yeah, Gen X. Who knows, bro?
Yeah, who knows?
So yeah, big advance.
I'm trying to think. What is that one where you can just you can like order whatever cells yourself and then like inject yourself with them? What is?
Oh, is that the gene editing thing?
Yeah, the gene editing. What's that?
Not sure.
What's the company called? CRISPR.
Yes,
you got
I've
it.
heard
Yeah,
about
yeah.
them.
So
Yes,
CRISPR.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Was
So
that Andre?
beautiful.
Oh, it's Fabian. Oh, nice.
There you
I
go,
was like,
Fabian.
yo,
Way to be on the
Andre's
ball
been
there.
here 5
CRISPR.
days. How did you know who
Yeah,
CRISPR is?
CRISPR. Yeah, CRISPR. So, I mean, hey, and you have those people, those billionaires, those millionaires who are just trying to anti-age themselves, doing all that type of stuff. But guys, I want to touch on something really quick, and I mentioned this not too long ago. If we can pull up my chart. This is the daily at Google. I was talking about this not too long ago. I've seen this pattern before. Where did I see this pattern before, Sharif? On Tesla, right? I mentioned this V-shaped pattern here before. We have the consolidation, the wick down, a big V move up, and then the consolidation, and then this stock looks to break out. Have we broken out quite yet? No, but we're getting there. Is it going to break out after the earnings report? We don't know. But what I was getting at is this V-shaped pattern, and where did I see this before from an intraday and a daily standpoint was Tesla, my friend. And where on Tesla was it before it had this massive breakout when the floor absolutely crushed it when they had that beat on deliveries? Do you see any differences in the patterns here? If I didn't tell you, if Tesla was removed, would you see much of a difference? No. Right?
No.
So this is things that you guys want to keep an eye out for, and then we have this massive breakout. So Google and Tesla having these V-shaped patterns, that's one thing that I'm keeping my eye out. And Google has a gap that I want to play as well too. So that's another thing I'm keeping an eye out. My friend, what are you cooking up?
I'm seeing another small cap gapper here that I should have had eyes on before and I didn't. LTBR, and it's doing a fantastic pattern here. It's putting in higher lows, higher highs. It's reasonably priced. And it's at that area where you expect something to happen, like a breakout. This $12-ish area we've been zigging and zagging with since that 955. We popped up into 1185 at that time, and we rejected all the way down to 1010. Now we're doing the most over here, trying to get back above $12. And if you had to, analyze the pattern, it's respected these price action support areas. Let me make the case for you. So look at these two candles over here at 955 and 10. Look what the top is on the closing, not the wick, the closing, 11.25. Lo and behold, once we get up to 12, we come back, double bottom off 11.25, and you also had more price action support for that 11.25. Once we tried to get back up, we kept wicking off it and rejecting it. So 11.25 is of interest to me, excuse me. So anything off that level, if it does dip, I'm looking as a buy. So let's go ahead, put an alert. I'm going to put 11.25 so that I have advanced knowledge of that quarter. Now, that's a dip trade setup. What if it doesn't dip? What if it doesn't come into that dip? Well, then it's a breakout trade, and it's a bit of a tougher trade there. You could also look to shadow it off the 10. Over here, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, it's kind of respecting it, but it's not really. So I don't want to base anything off the 10 right now. It does seem like there is price action support for it at 11.25, but we're well removed away from it. We've been knocking on the door at 12. LTBR, good look. It's about a $175 million market cap. The volume on the day is not huge. It's about 7.25 million. But as you can see, the volume came in a little bit hotter there. So we started picking up a little bit more on the volume right at 1 o'clock. Let me give you more information on it. It's got about 12.5 million share float. And let's bring down trade ideas and shout out to Nos Boss and his $350,000 top on Bitcoin. And look at trade ideas here. 0.82% of that float is shorted, so negligible amount there. Nothing to write home about. But I really like this stock. I don't know how to get in. It's gonna break day high right now. I think it just weaseled into day high, right? 12.14 is now the day high. We just printed a new high of day on LTBR. It's going. We just printed another one right now. Great hold up over here. Does this thing have a catalyst? Let's find out. The company's called Lightbridge Corp. Here it is. Lightbridge stock is rallying Monday. What's going on? Shares are trading higher on Monday amid continued optimism surrounding nuclear. Okay, so this is a nuclear play. All right, what is, yes, it's advanced nuclear fuel technology. Okay, that's all I need to know. So it's a nuclear play. Let's look at the daily. The daily is probably going to be bullish as well.
Jeez.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
The nuclear play is, it's definitely in vogue.
Hey,
Look at
that's
that.
you. That's right down your alley.
I love this look, bro. The nuclear play, man. We talked about this, you and I, a bunch,
exactly.
man, with nuclear
That's
right
you,
now.
That's you.
12.25 right now, Joe. High a day, possibly maybe something off 12. If it does dip in, have we gotten far away enough from 12 to use it as support? I don't think so. I'm looking. I don't know how to trade this. I'm going to tell you quite frankly. I'm going to put something maybe at 11 and a quarter because that's where the 10 is. Maybe 11. Wow, bro, this is just going. It's going. It's taking out highs. Let's load it up on a trading screen. Do we have it up on a trading screen? No, we don't. So let's take off Oklo. That was a holdover from yesterday. LTBR is on the NQ, I believe. It is on the NQ. We're trading at 12 1/3. Okay, so what's a spread like? It's a bit wider, guys. 6 pennies. I saw it 8. So it's not as, tightly traded as like that Hoth. We had about 1 or 2 penny spread at the most. This one, you're going to have to stomach a bit of a wider spread. 6 pennies again. But it's going. And it's taking out highs, 12 1/3. We were talking about this one at 12, man. Oh, my goodness. All right, I'm going to set up over here at 12.10. If I get the 12.10, fantastic. If I don't get it, I don't get it, Joe. But I'm not chasing it. It's just not my move to chase these small cap gappers. Come what may. What are you looking at?
Yeah, hey, brother, I'm just sticking with the Bitcoin plays today. We're in Mara here now, brother, from 1896. Woo! So we're getting that quick 16, 20 cent pop real quick, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Someone in the chat mentioned Mara. I was about to say this thing looks like a borderline dumpster fire, but hey, that's okay. We might have put in a potential bottom. I'm really disappointed in the breakout. Shout out to our guy BPI, who is probably trading this thing as we speak. So I mean, good luck on that one. We'll see if we can move back towards the volume weighted average price on that one, guys. We actually, hold on, we're going to take some off at 19.10 if we can get it. We'll take a little bit off the top there. We got IBIT creeping up again, seeing if it can go. Google, Sharif, is now making a new high. This thing is absolutely grinding to the top side. Oh, are you in it?
No.
Oh, you just like the thanks, eh?
No, we took it out a long time ago, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see where we're getting at. You said pouring salt in the wound. Thanks, Joe. Mashworth, pouring salt in the wound. That's it. Twisting the knife when it's already in. That's exactly it. Twisting the knife in the back. So sorry about that one. But hey, man, grip strength. That's what we got to do at the gym at the grip strength session, guys. Softy. Someone's mentioning Softy in the chat. We're going to look at Softy really quick, but let me take a little bit off here on Mara, just so that we're risk off here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
And then we're gonna take a quick peek at Microsoft for somebody, MSFT, and this thing has been lagging. I gotta get some more exact numbers on it. Oh wow, up 1 1/4 on the session. Hasn't even looked back. Geez, that's an absolute monstrous trend, and it hasn't even been really talked about too much today. I feel like we haven't really mentioned it. Of the Mag 7, you call Apple the dead one. Is Microsoft the dull one? I don't know.
I call Microsoft Softy, the soft one. Yeah,
it is a little dull.
See the beef that's happening between Google and Microsoft right now?
Yeah, some stuff going on in the EU or something like that, right? So,
beef.
Big beef. So when you got two giants going head to head, then you got a Titan war. And somebody will win, but hey guys, that's it. But I'm in over here in Mara. It's continuing to move back towards the volume weighted average price. We like that, guys. We're talking about volume price analysis today. Am I saying that Microsoft is going to be a short? I don't know, but just keep in mind, take that in. We have an isolated pivot at an extreme with an isolated volume signature. I don't know, isolation nation maybe, but I don't know. So we'll keep an eye on that. If it decides it wants to pull back, then maybe there might be a little tiny short there, but you don't want to be shorting this market right now because it is absolutely strong. But what are you cooking up there, my friend?
Yeah, we got long into LTBR, looking at that 12.10, looking at wetting my beak at the $0.25. Let's see if this one wants to go. It's got good momentum. The reason I got it at that 10 penny area was to account for that topping tail that we had there initially that did reject. There does seem to be a seller of note at 21s or 22s. Now we're showing 24s on the ask, but it's got a cross for me to get filled. That's just how this one works. I don't want to say it's spready. It's a 2 penny spread right now, but I've seen it a bit wider, 6 or 7 pennies at actually 8 at its worst. There we go. Now we get the fill. Decent move. Let's go up over here and wait. Possibly at 29s. Let's see if we can get that fill. Seller at 28. Let's see if this one can cross. There it is again, Joe. All right, let's go up a little bit more over here and see if we can weasel up a little bit more at 35s. LTBR. It was, again, a cancer headline, midday mover. a decent percentage up on the day. It didn't have its best trade, I would say. It didn't have its best trade in the pre-market or at the open like a lot of these small cap gappers do. Then you end up getting the fade trade into the afternoon. I would submit to you this one might be a little bit different. It doesn't have to be different. It could be. We just try to put the odds on our side. Now, we're stuck here at the $0.25. Looks like somebody's shorting or taking profits at this $0.25. A lot of red coming in there, but we pop up right into 28s. Now we're waiting at the 35 area, showing 30s here on the ask. 35.5%. The volume picking up a bit more. 35s. There it is again, Joe. We get that top, but you got to have those resting orders. You guys see how I get filled, and then it drops 5 pennies quick as you like. Get in and get out. Have those orders posted. If you don't believe in that, you think the market makers are going to see your orders, well, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of people don't like doing that because they have all these conspiracy theories and whatever. So that's a look. Let's hang out at 42s. Let's see if we can get that fill up there. We're showing 40s now on the ask. It's going to have to cross, but it's picking up in terms of volatility here, right? We're getting that, and again, we get it. Boom. Let's go up some more, baby. We're along 12s. Now we're printing 50s. Let's see over here. All right, cool. Let's hang out at, we're going to hang out at 55s, Joe. We're going to hang out over here, look for another beak wetter, but that's all predicated upon this $0.50 level getting taken out. Some size here on the book, not too big at the $0.50. I'll submit to you that likely it's going to be an iceberg or the orders are going to come in as we ascend or descend in the price. So don't rely too much on the book with these small cap gappers, but obviously, have them give you some idea there. We just dropped big from that 48 to that $0.25. What a move. What a move. What a drop. Here comes. It's going to stop me out, bro. If we print anything below 12s, I'm taking it out. I'm not going to go negative on this at all. Popped up right back into that third. Leave it. Let it cook, baby. Let it cook. Let's see what we get over here. I'm still waiting on the north side of 55. Let's see if we can get that out. What are you looking at, Joe?
Yeah, Sharif, I just want to go back to the point that we've been talking about all day is the volume price analysis. Look at this. Look at this signal that I just said, hey, keep an eye out for this because this is a potential turnaround signal. You have the isolated print with the isolated volume signature. And bam, look at Microsoft start to sell. Sell, sell, sell. So guys, dig into that. Watch out what's going on and see and learn how to read the price that is being displayed and printed, guys, all right? So I took a little bit more off of Mara, actually, just because everything else started to sell, like the NAS and the Qs are pulling back a little bit. Even though everything seems to be holding fairly strong, we got AMD sitting at just a little bit above 164, up about 2.6% on the session, which is absolutely beautiful. Miss Yellow Dot, yeah, exactly. So Microsoft was also at resistance on the 50. So there you go, Adara, she's looking at things as well too. So she's correlating higher time frames with what's going on a lower time frame. That's perfect. So you're running into resistance, and then you can add that into connection of what the price is currently telling you as well too. So good luck there, Adara. And yes, Miss Yellow Dot, that is what we are looking at. Guys, I mean, AMD holding these levels nice. Let's see what Apple, is Apple still breaking out, Sharif? Yeah, it's still holding. It's not doing horrible. We'll keep an eye out on that. It did break out that range, and it was consolidating for quite some time, and then decided to make a move to the top side, creating a new high of day there. So that was a really, really nice breakout. I said I was looking for some more volume on it, and it didn't step in. But one thing that it was is that it was steady, all right? So that's a good breakout on Apple for anybody who's a breakout trader. I was a little bit late to the dance on it. You want to get in around 233.5s and take a look from there and just get a little bit of break wetter. You got something. This guy's having a blast. Send it over to Sharif. Put the guy's chart up. Put the guy's chart up.
I love the small cap gappers. Dude, I thought they would fade after a week, but they're not fading, Joe. Joe, are you a fashionably late kind of guy, or are you I show up early kind of guy?
No, I was always, you know what, my grandfather always made me show up to work 30 minutes early. I was always early for something. I would like to think I am a punctual individual.
Love it, man. I was going to say no to that. Yeah.
There you go.
Shout out to you, bro, because I'm all about that life as well. Guys, we wet our beak here. Where do we take it out? 55s. Now I'm sitting at 75. This is my last out on LTBR. I love these midday movers. I was a little bit suspicious of this drop here. I was concerned that we would kind of break 12 and then I'd get a topping tail candle through 12 and that would be the all she wrote. It didn't work out that way. It's a good headline, guys. Cancer is a big deal. I don't need to tell you about that. And bang. We just took it out at 75, Joe. Boom. Done this trade. I'm going to have to journal today, bro.
I'm going to have that.
Because I had good winners. I'm going to aggressively journal. Shout out to Adara, man.
I thought you were going to take a camera with that fist pump there.
Oh, yeah, bro. It's happened before, man. I've shaken this one. Chile Nightmare got very upset with me. No, I'm just joking. He's good there. He's not doing anything, Katina, man. I'm the one that's like...
He's chilling. Watch out for his cameras.
We're having a good time up in here, guys. Great time. Guys, we only have about a few minutes left or so, up to 150 for you guys to vote. The big kahunas, they're back. Neil and Sean. There he is. No gym for him today because he had a big meeting. Obviously, the big boys had a big meeting. You're fired. He said, so, yo, they're back. And the reason I'm telling you that they're back is because you get a chance now to vote for your favorite segment of the day, the ones where the big kahunas look at the trades for you. Get into the chat right now. If you have a stock you want Neil to look at for you, if you have a stock that you want Sean to look at you or look at for you, if you or both, get into the chat right now. Exclamation point, that word join, then space, then hit shift 4 for that $sign and the ticker of your choice. They've got, obviously, it's a big kahuna, so, you know, I definitely want to see how they would have traded my stuff. So get into the chat right now. You have till 1:50 today, every afternoon from 2 until 2:30, 2:20 or whatever, however long it takes us. We look at the top 5 tickers as selected by you guys, but make sure to, you know, bully your friends or whatever in the chat because only the top 5 tickers make it on. So get into the chat right now, guys. Let's see what we're talking about over here. We got Fernando. He wants to hear about SoFi. Not surprised because SoFi reported earnings. It was a good look. JTK wants to talk about coin. I wonder why, because we're like a few dollars away from all-time highs on Bitcoin. And KG thinking that same thing, Joe. He wants to look at Mara. Where's the Mara indicator when you need him? Shout out to Hotlanta and Nicole Harris. What is she saying? Joseph, we told you the Bitcoin white papers were on every Apple computer. Apple's Bitcoin. Maybe they don't, but when Bitcoin run, I keep Apple calls. You heard about this, right? With the white paper on.
Well, now I'm hearing it. Yeah, I'm hearing it now. So hey, I mean,
you never heard that before?
I've never heard of this. I might have to read a little bit into that, so I don't quite understand. But
apparently, there was like an update on one of the. I think it was the OS on the MacBook.
Yeah.
And there was like a hidden file that had the white paper for Bitcoin. No, I'm not even joking about that. Double check, make sure.
Maybe we'll do some due diligence after for sure, and read into that. So that's interesting.
Yes, sir. Nessa talking about Meta. Meta just printing 590 double top. Thank you for pointing that out, Nessa, because this is an interesting look here on the Zuck train Meta, Andre, because we got into that 589.99, literally the high of the day. That was earlier though. That we put that top at around 1120, but we worked our way back up again, right at that 120 area. We made a very similar double top, I believe 89.72. So about, you know, just a few pennies off that top. Let's see if the Zuck train can work its way back into 600. We know already it's taken 600 before, but this looks like it could be an interesting double top. JTK, thank you very much, my man, for the $5 super chat there. Coin, aka Coinbase, bought the dip this morning. 225 calls got for the low. Yes, sir. We're gonna drop the cash for you because you're printing over there, but I'm gonna let you look at that one because that's down your alley.
Yeah. I'm looking at Coin and Sharif. As we mentioned.
On which? Neil says there's a big volume spike on Intel, guys, so be made aware of that.
So we'll pull up some INTC quick, and then we'll talk a little bit about Coin. Oh, yeah, big volume there, and selling. I mean, they got 300 million going over to China now, so they can expand some stuff.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
There you go. Drop it.
Yeah, here it is. This came in at 127, Neil. So this is likely at vis-a-vis Reuters. Intel CEO, we know Patty G, touted $1 billion in AI chip pipeline when internal revenue projection was only $500 million. Sources say it's coming in as hot news. I'm not sure what to make of that, but the market did react. Just want to give you that information.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, we need that drop, that hot news to come out and see why things are moving, right? So that's really important. And I mean, look at it. It's reflective of the stock, guys. And Sharif mentioned to me the other day that Coinbase has a leveraged ETF, and I'm just thinking in my head, for what? Like, the stock isn't that expensive, but looking over at Coin, I guess the more that crypto grows in popularity, the better for this stock here, for sure. So, I mean, hey, we're sitting on top of this range here, just above 215, 216-ish, and it's looking to break. So we'll see if it can break and continue to move here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why this thing has a levered ETF. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm personally not playing Coinbase, right? Like, if I'm going to play crypto, I'm going to go to the underlying asset itself. The exchange is great. We're Canadian, so I use CoinSquare. I don't know if the Americans have access to CoinSquare, but that's something that I would definitely look into. But guys, we got I mean, and it's trading great. So I got a little bit of size left here in Mara, not too much. It's continuing. We're gonna hold this last little bit until VWAP, guys. But those are my two big trades of the day. Look at this on Mara, beautiful. And then we have this on iBid as well too. So which we had a lot of fun on that, and it just continued to trend, right? So that's something I could have held on to. Maybe I'll go to the gym and work on grip strength this week too. But we're happy with the trade, and we're gonna continue to hold on to tomorrow. But as of right now, we got some hot news that's gonna come from Adara.
The DXY for this afternoon segment, but first I wanted to give a little bit more intel, for lack of a better term, on that move in INTC. Basically, this is called a Reuters special report. From what I'm seeing of this, it just seems to be a bit of a summary of some of the issues that Intel has been dealing with. Basically, Pat Gelsinger, who was their CEO, hired in 2021, instead of fixing the company as people were hoping for, has actually now been criticized, specifically apparently for touting this AI chip pipeline at $1 billion, even though the internal projection was about half of that. So basically saying that they were expecting about double for that chip pipeline than was actually realistic here. Also, there's talk here about delaying that 18A manufacturing until 2026. And also, there was a canceled deal here with this custom Waymo chip. Basically, it just seems like a huge summary of the issues, and kind of ending this headline with saying that Intel remains confident and is looking for, quote, process leadership by 2025. So potentially some changes here with the leadership. But again, bit of an oddly worded report here coming from Reuters, their special report. If Intel or any other tickers are in watch, make sure to vote for your ticker of choice. But before we go back to that desk, we're going to take a look here at the DXY, which continuing to make a beautiful double bottom just above 100 on this weekly chart. We did have some economic data that came in. Again, JOLTS job openings below expectations, 7.443 million jobs versus estimates of 8 million and a pretty significantly lower revised. We've got revised to around 7.8 million jobs for August. And then the original number was 8 million. So cutting jobs by about 1/5 of a million there for that August JOLTS job openings number. Then CB consumer confidence the other direction, stronger than expected at 108.7. Now, it's also worth noting here, we have the Fed funds rate. I'm putting this up because we have just over 1 week until our November meeting here for the FOMC. We're expecting one rate cut, or a 25 basis point cut. Here it's being priced in 99.7% chance of a 25 basis point cut. There's a 0.3% chance being priced in at a 50 basis point cut, but it's worth noting there are some Feds that seem even skeptical about that much of a cut. Fed Bostic has said that he's comfortable waiting to have a cut. We know Fed's Bowman has spoken about more gradual cuts, same with Fed's Kugler. So we're going to have to wait and see, because there was also, in the minutes from the September meeting, a lot of hesitance from these Feds to even cut by the 50 basis points that we got. So it sounds like not everyone was united with that decision. We'll have to see if they follow it up with a cut or surprise us by holding rates, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara.
Say, guys, the poll. Make sure you submit your poll.
What are the options?
What is it? So, most relatable stock market confession.
Okay.
1, I check stocks in bed. Who doesn't? I do. I ignore red days. I try not to. Bought the top, sold the dip. Hey.
Done that.
FOMO'd into meme stocks. Have not.
No.
So make sure you answer the poll, guys. Put it in. Submit your answer.
I don't mind that FOMO. I mean, I wish I had actually FOMO'd into meme stocks, man. I always stay away from it. I don't know why, man. Like these high school kids at my gym bought DJT at $20, and
these guys are living rent free in your head, eh?
Absolutely, they are. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Yes, because they make me feel stupid.
Yeah, hey man.
The less, like for certain things, the less you think, the better. You know, for certain things,
absolutely,
not everything.
But to simplify things, sometimes it's like with trading, right? You don't want to get analysis paralysis, and sometimes simplification is the way to go, brother.
Well said. Guys, we're very strong right now on the overall market. Forget about these small cap gappers for a hot second here. We are at highs on a lot of different names. I'm talking about Amazon. I'm talking about Meta. I'm talking about even AAPL, not that far off highs. Google's at highs. The Future's almost at highs. NVIDIA's been doing its best to work back into that 142. We're also 25 pennies off highs. Even the Cybertruck, which has been awfully weak today, trying to work back into the volume-weighted average price. The VWAP now a little bit lower than that 260 level we talked about last time we yapped about Tesla. It's in the 259, 2/3, give or take in that area. But as I zoom in here on TSLA, for whatever reason, we're having trouble with this 259 area, which also happens to be the 50 exponential moving average on the 5. So I went back to have a look. Have we interacted with the 50 today? No, we haven't. We breached it over here at 1040. That was the last touch we had with the 50 exponential. And quite frankly, it was more of a closing print rejection, that 262.5, yesterday's closing print. So I'm less inclined to want to base anything off the 50 right now. That's that red solid line on my chart right there, guys. Yeah, no problem. But we got bills to pay right now, Joe, so I'm going to have to look quickly up over here and let you guys know that eSignal will be a sponsor, is a sponsor right now. You'll be able to trade smarter, not harder with eSignal. Upgrade to that elite trading experience. You can analyze, you can strategize, and then hopefully after that, you'll be able to capitalize by foreseeing those profitable opportunities with the platform you need. You get a lot of stuff, man. You get infinite data, you get instant trading, and you know where the market is moving before others with that lightning fast data. They've also got excellent charts. Some would say charts that change the game. And you'll be able to customize and analyze the market faster in your way with whatever indicator you want. And we all know a good, solid trading foundation requires good back testing so you can make sure your strategy works. And that's what you get. You get better back testing and scanning. You'll be able to predict the future by certainly understanding how it traded in the past. And you also get reliable real-time data up to the second market information from hundreds of global markets. It's everything you need all in one place, so don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen or check out the link in the description. Shout out to eSignal. A few more days until we get that eSignal. I've been pumped about that. Yeah. Meta just printed another high a day. We were concerned that this one could have been setting up as a double top, given that red candle, but that's why you wait for confirmation. You didn't even get a closing print below the 10 exponential, and now we just made another high, 590, 26 META, very strong today. Didn't give you much in the way of anything as a pullback. I mean, you got off that 580, 590 initial touch, and then it held up kind of like in no man's land. It held up at 586, not a level that I earmarked for any sort of dip trade or anything like that. So Meta, really strong, but kind of unpredictable in the sense that I didn't have any levels on it today, Joe. What are you looking at over there?
Yeah, we just got out of our last little bit here on Mara Sharif. We didn't get quite to the volume-weighted average price. Price started to slowly turn around on us, so we got out. But we're happy with this, right? We're not going to complain at all with this trade at all. So we're happy with that trade. And guys, I mean, Google's making a new high a day, just slightly under it now, pulling back a little bit. But we're sitting around 169. Sixes just up about 1 3/4% on the session. So absolutely great day for a stock that everybody seems so bearish. Like everybody is like doubting these guys. So and they're trading higher with the overall market. I mentioned to you guys earlier the pattern that I've seen forming from a daily perspective. Excuse me, so that's a really good look there. Let's see if this breakout can continue, especially after the report. I know a lot of people are waiting for this report. I personally am as well too, considering it is the second largest holding I have in my personal account. So I'm looking forward to see what Google has to bring to us, and I think it's going to be action-packed, absolutely. I know someone in the chat asked before about straddles on Google. We talked about straddles. Yeah, we talked about straddles, and I mean, hey, if you want to play it, I think earnings are the time to play straddles. Someone asked about an election to play a straddle as well too, and I'm just going to be totally frank with you guys, as I always am, is that I don't have enough data collected to say play a straddle on an election. I haven't been through that many elections trading, right? So I'm not going to lead you in the wrong direction and say it because I don't know how the volatility is going to play out on those. So you need spikes in volatility with those straddles. So just keep that out. Just keep that in mind. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be volatility. It's just the question of how much, guys. All right. So we got Bitcoin sitting just under 73K, sitting at exactly 72,868 bucks. So I mean, this thing has absolutely started to put in that rounded bottom and start to turn around. I know people are talking about cup and handle formations, whatever it may be. The stock, the underlying asset is looking like it wants to break out to the fullest. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And I know Elon and I are in some AMD. So Elon, I know you're doing really good. You mentioned 161 yesterday, so I don't know if you're still holding on to any size, but if you're holding on to that, because you were south of 161 when we were talking, so if you're still holding on to that, good work on you, Elon. Good work, brother. But what are you cooking up there, Sure?
I want to talk about what we've got after the bell over here, if I can, because a lot of earnings reports, guys, on after the bell today. So let's talk a lot about them, because I know Adara brought all of them to us. But let's talk about the expected move and how they did last time. Even look at the options volume.
That's a great website.
Yeah, man. I do love this website. This is Market Chameleon, guys. You can get all this information I've got up here for free, but you do have to log in to see days that are basically for subsequent days. You'll be able to see today's for free, but if you want to go to subsequent days, you got to make an account. So Alphabet, obviously, right? We're looking at a previous move last time of 5% to the downside. This time, Joe, 6.7% plus or minus is expected. Visa, obviously big. I know you're going to be looking at this one, Joe.
Bro, my eyes are glued to that one, brother. Yeah, we're hot on that one. And sorry to interrupt you. I just want to point you out, because we're talking about expected moves. If we can pull back Sharif's screen there again, that's what you need to outweigh when you're playing straddles. The market, the options market's going to price in these moves, so you need the move to exceed those guys. All right, sorry, go back.
No, it's cool. I just want to digress for a second, because I was asking Gatekeeper. He wrote in the chat, still getting used to the Robinhood Legend platform. I like it so far. So I've been hearing a lot about this on CNBS, and I was telling Gatekeeper, and here's what he wrote. It's a good start, but it's a web browser-based trading platform. Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that, actually. It would be.
I think you want standalone softwares are a little bit better.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. He goes on to say, not as complex as Thinkorswim or Webull, but the UI is great for beginners, I think. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for letting us know that. The more information we have, the better, obviously. We don't have it on this side of the border, but anytime we can give advice to people, it's good to have that information. But to go back over here, Joe, this is going to be a very interesting day. AMD, guys, big boy options volume. A lot of people looking at this name, and you're expected to go plus or minus 7.8%, Joe. So that's a good look right there. Really Last time you have the odds in your favor, it was up 4.4. So we're obviously wishing you print multiple storms on that end, my guy.
Yep.
Going on over here, CMG, a lot of people's favorite there. Also reporting after the bell tonight, expected move on this monster, 7.9%, but they're going to have to go at it without Brian Nickel, because now he belongs to Starbucks. He doesn't belong to them, you know what I mean, though. 7.9% plus or minus here for Chipotle. Going on, Electronic Arts, not the one that we typically cover, but people were asking me about this one in the chat, First Solar. And you also have an interesting expected move here up at around 7%, 6.9% last time. They did pump about 2.5%. And First Solar, guys, the reason First Solar has been outperforming some of these other solar names is because they make a lot of their solar panels in the United States, or not in China, in other words, okay? We know that the solar panels coming in from China are going to be subject to like 50 or 25% tariffs under the Biden administration. We'll see if the administration changes. Well, it will change. It'll be Harris or Trump. We'll see if the new administration either increases or decreases that. My gut is it likely gets increased because I think that this is kind of like a bipartisan issue with respect to China there down south. So 6.9% for First Solar. Then we've got Snapchat, and this one can get super volatile. Just look at last time. 27% it dropped, Joe. The market doesn't really give this one too much room. This time around, we're also expecting a big move as well, 20.2%. Look at that options volume, man. 170,000. That's probably not even updated. Moving down, Joe, Reddit. All-time highs today.
Yeah, and they only IPO'd earlier in the year.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Expected move on this monster, Reddit, 14.5%. Again, that's plus or minus. Last time it was a little less than 7%. It dropped 6.8% there. So lots to talk about. Which one of you guys is doing the market recap today? The Katina man is going to be on the market recap. So there is a ridiculous amount to talk about today on the aftermarket show, the market recap show. So make sure you are hanging out with us after the bell because it's kind of like an entire trading day.
All over.
Yeah, all over again. Ridiculous amounts of earnings today. Should be super, super good there, Joe. So
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know, just to add on to what we're talking earnings, guys. Just please be wary when you are trading earnings. Don't try to anticipate anything before the report, okay? You can find yourself in a lot of trouble, and that's how people blow up accounts. So just wait for that volatility to phase out, ideally 5 minutes, but you don't want to try to catch that volatility onslaught when the report drops.
Elon in the chat saying, really interesting thing here. Hi, Sharif. FSLR sells to enterprises. A solid demand, unlike retail. Yeah, that's obviously. I would. If Bobby.
W.
With. With a solid demand. I was like, because usually it's with.
Come on,
not
man.
with
Get with the modern talk.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, that's the look. I mean, unlike retail, I would definitely love to have B2B instead of B2C. I think because they've got more dollars. But when they get hurt more, they also get hurt more. So good look there. Keep your eye out on First Solar. Obviously, let's look at some of these solar names on the day to see how they've been looking. Let's weasel down into solar thing over here. Every single name in solar world today, red, Enphase, FSLR. FSLR is flat. It's down 0.19, but look at like CSIQ, man. Canadian Solar cannot catch a break, down 10%. You got Sunrun, Nova, a lot of these other names as well, really taking it on the chin. It's been tough for solar. And I personally, I mean, I'm just speaking off the cuff here, but I don't think if Donald Trump is to win, I don't think solar gets any love, man. Have a look at the chart during that, 2017 to 2021 kind of look for a lot of these solar names that were quite depressed. They did get a bounce when Biden took over, but then we had the issue with 2022 where everything kind of sold off. So it was interesting. At the time, I was predicting a nice solar pump when the last administration took over. But yeah, it didn't really quite happen that way. Guys, I also want to mention AVGO. We got this headline earlier that OpenAI is going to be using Broadcom and AMD's chips to build out whatever infrastructure there, and Broadcom pumped up quite aggressively on it, and it's been holding this bull flag that we kind of formed 179 HODs. Essentially, it's technically 178.86. It's holding the 10 exponential quite strictly here, but it's in a consolidation kind of wait and see phase. The volume is also dropped off markedly since that big pump there at 1245, 1250. The price is not dropping though. So we'll keep an eye on this one to see if it wants to test that 179, maybe even a 180 touch. Up 3.6 already, Joe. Nice move here for Broadcom.
Google, high of day. This thing, let's go. This bang. This thing is just crawling up. I don't know. Everybody, Josh Brown's trimming. Everybody, I think Joe Terranova's trimming. Like everybody. The Joe T ETF. Do you know?
Of course I know about that. They always refer to him as the man with the ETF. Yeah. How could I not know that?
I don't even know what's in the Joe T anyway.
It's actively managed though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's always rotating things in and out. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Google's, it's just crawling up here, guys. It's doing what Google's always gonna do. I'm a backer of this stock. I really like Google. People don't like Google right now, but it's starting to prove them wrong. So I don't know if anybody's getting squeezed out. Sorry, we just got hit with some dark pool wicks. But guys, Bitcoin's starting to pull back a little bit here. That's totally fine, sitting at 72.5s total, but we'll keep an eye on it. It doesn't, I think people were talking about this yesterday. It likes to make its moves after hours, and I totally agree with that. So the big moves come when the Americans are sleeping, or when we're over here on North America and we're sleeping, and that's when we like to wake up to it around 70 plus K. So we're gonna have some fun with that, brother. What do you got going on?
Nothing much, man. There's not a whole lot that I've got going on right now. Like, the only one that I'm really interested in right now is LTBR. I mean, it's looking at another high day test. I missed this one. I mean, we had a great trade initially on it, but it came back in, tested 12 to the T. Like this candle over here right at 135 broke into 1198. So essentially it holds 12. Up we go again, back into that 1260, or we're 1240, but you get it. We're zigging and zagging. It's still got that higher low, higher high situation. So this one's in play. LTBR looking awfully good, 37 1/3. It's got a bit of a spread on it, so you got to be willing to stomach that. When I was trading it, I saw it as wide as 8, you know, sometimes as tight as 3 or 4. So LTBR in focus. We mentioned already the other one over here. Which one was that? AVGO, but that's not a small cap gapper, obviously. DJT. It did a nice little bounce there off VWAP, and let me tell you, I had eyes on this, but I wasn't willing to trade it. I was concerned about the lower lows and the lower highs. And here's what I see on DJT: basing the high at that 815 top that we put in at around 57.50. We're putting incrementally lower highs with what I see to be a flat bottom. That flat bottom is VWAP generally. Right now, it's that 51 1/4, 51 1/2, give or take. So if we continue to put in these lower highs, could we actually test that VWAP area and break it on a closing basis? That's kind of the feeling I get right now with DJT. But it was a good hold up at the volume weighted average price. It gave you, I think, $2 off that level if you were smart enough to hold it. So keep your eye out on that one. There isn't a whole lot to cover right now in either small cap gapper world or big tech even. I mean, we're okay. All right, there is something to cover here, Joe. Tesla, VWAP. So we were talking about this one. TSLA just worked its way up into VWAP, 259 2/3. That's the level at volume weighted average price, south of that 260 area. Let's see if a rejection forms here on TSLA. It was down 2 1/3. Now it's down 1 1/5. So good recovery. But still below the volume weighted average price, brother. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm just looking over at INTC because they had a couple of catalysts today, right? So we just want to see, and we were talking like, why are they pumping when someone has an estimate for $1 billion and then you come in at half of that? So why are you trading higher? I don't know, right? Again, the unpredictability of the market. So guys, that's a look on INTC. And we know from a daily perspective, I think it's still kind of in that gap. Sitting around, it's just chopping around inside of that gap. So if you're looking to play the gap fill on it, then the trade is still potentially there. But I don't know. I think there's I probably trade 499 other stocks that are in the S&P 500. Then I'm taking a look at INTC. So I don't know. Yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I think there's way better chip plays. Don't try to look for value in something that isn't really working. And then caught holding the bag on a stock that's not doing fundamentally too well. So that's just my 2 cents on.
Can I make a point too? If you guys want to play the AI trade, I would submit to you that there's only a few of the chip names that are pure AI plays. And what do I mean by that? I mean strictly make GPUs, graphic processing units. You got AMD that does both. They do CPUs, they do GPUs. Likewise with Micron. Sorry, not Micron, with Broadcom. Likewise with Intel. Intel's not, well, do they make GPUs? They do, but they're very small amount. So with these ones, Qualcomm doesn't even make GPUs. They make these CPUs for mobile, like we know about the Snapdragon, this, that. So if you're looking for that pure AI play, I think it would be NVIDIA. But let me caveat my own point. A lot of people are working on these AI-specific CPUs that should be able to handle some of the less intense AI processes. So small language models rather than large language models, the ones that fit on your phone. Apparently CPUs are going to be good enough for that. So If you're really looking for that enterprise play where the hyperscalers are buying 200,000-300,000 of these GPUs, I would submit to you the only pure play is NVIDIA. Everything else is a mixed play with CPU and GPUs, and that's just kind of what I had to say about that.
No, and to add on to that point, our good guy Danny Ives over at Wedbush, he says if you want to have a pure AI play,
What do you say?
PLTR.
Interesting.
Palantir. It's the purest AI play from Danny Ives over there at Wedbush.
Can't disagree with that.
No, Katina Man is.
What stock was that?
PL.
Where's the hat, Katina Man? You can't come up here without the hat, bro.
So that's it. I just had to throw that in there because I know someone loves it. All right.
I'm not gonna put this on because it's his own hat, but there it is, baby. Palantir investor, love it. Where'd you get this hat? Who got you this hat? Oh, okay, yeah, well, that's okay.
Oh, I thought Alex. I thought Alex himself sent you that one there.
Man, did you watch the video I told you about Alex Karp? He's intense individual, man.
Dude, the first time I ever seen Alex Karp was on a YouTube ad, and the ad was like, "We have what people want, and we're gonna charge them a lot of money for it."
Yeah,
that's what he said.
He's pretty bold.
And I seen his hair, and I'm like, "Who is this guy?" Like buddy.
I seen his hair, and I knew it was
I'm
over.
like, "Yeah, like who are you?" You know what I mean? But
can I say one thing too? The dude is hilarious in this interview. Anybody who was wanting to watch this, CNBC, it was last week with Morgan Brennan. Dude, you know, he wants to change the Department of Defense to the Department of Offense. He's like, why do we have to wait for people to blow us up? Let's blow them up first. He's speaking stuff that you and I would say to each other.
Yeah, he's
but
on
he's
that
saying
interview.
it on television.
On that interview. Who was he with?
Morgan Brennan
the other CEO,
CEO of L3 Harris.
Yeah, exactly, L3, right? So these guys are talking defense, like, the lethality of things, right? It's like, we need to be more lethal.
The L3 Harris CEO felt so uncomfortable, you could tell. He was just like
literally talking war.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys.
Yeah, look, well, you can think of him whatever you want. The fact of the matter is, you know, we have to be ready. And so that's a company that keeps you ready there. So Troy Barker, thinking Chewy is now in Canada. Do you notice the Chewy boxes on doorsteps or just notice them around? I personally haven't noticed them, brother. The Katina Man says Chewy's been here for a hot minute. He didn't even know. Thank you for that question there, Troy. Not much I can add with that, sadly. What else? We got Elon says BA, Boeing gearing up. Okay. No pun intended there, I guess, right? Gear up, get it? Let's put BA over here. Let's have a look at what this one is doing. Is Boeing, okay, so Boeing's got a nice little bull flag continuation. Didn't even drop into VWAP. Found support for whatever reason at that 152.5, 152.25, back above into 154 we go. But it looks like we were rejected, at least for the moment, that 155 level on the last little attempt there, even though the high of the day is essentially 156. So Boeing moving up on the latest news that they're raising cash. 19 billion, 25 billion. They got a $10 billion line of credit. They're doing a whole bunch of stuff. They're trying to stay afloat. You can't blame them. Kelly Ortberg is, he's been brought in to do a job. Always makes me laugh. He's been brought in to do a job. Hopefully they can get that union issue fixed with the machinists and get delivering those 737 Maxes, because they're not delivering any right now. Any final thoughts? We got about 3 minutes left on the show.
No, it was actually a great session, guys. We had the Mag 7 trading extremely well today. The overall markets were trading well. A nice, strong trend day. Bitcoin is still hovering around the all-time, or just below the all-time highs, guys. And we got Google and AMD coming up after the bell, so it's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, that AMD look is really strong now. It's 3%. It's really going. I think it just took out highs. Yeah, AMD's a good look, so I'm happy for you here. Hopefully that strength continues into the aftermarket. Guys, we're knocking on the door of 165 on AMD, and if you're wondering what this mid-day pop and drop was and then continuation, this is news that OpenAI, essentially the owner or the creator of ChatGPT, is going to use AMD chips as well as Broadcom for their build-out. Obviously, they've been using NVIDIA chips with Microsoft, obviously the buyer of the NVIDIA chips, and then giving ChatGPT access to Azure. That was part of the $10 billion, by the way, that they would be able to use Azure, et cetera. The $10 billion investment that Microsoft has in OpenAI.
Sorry,
Yeah, go for it.
One of my best friends works on Azure.
You're kidding.
Yeah, my best
in
friend.
Canada?
No, in the States.
Oh, that's amazing, bro. It's like it's the biggest cloud in the world, right? Cloud provider in the world,
exactly.
right?
And he just dropped a new something new on a new project on it. So he's doing
Seriously.
really well.
Yeah, keep us up to speed. Any insider information?
Yeah,
It's good over here, Joe.
Yeah.
We're kidding.
Yeah,
we're kidding. We're just joking. All right. They should stop building the 737 and become a respectable company again, says Rondo. Hey man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That McDonald. And I would submit. I would invite everybody to go watch a documentary on Netflix if you have access to Netflix. I don't remember what the name of the documentary is, but it makes the case for the acquisition or the merger with McDonnell Douglas being really kind of the first step in the decline of Boeing as they started prioritizing profits over quality. And that's kind of where we're left. So nothing new here, Joe, but it is now 2 o'clock officially. So.
Oh.
What's going on?
I was going to ask you, are you wearing my jacket?
Obi, what's going on over there, Ob?
His own jacket. All right, we got matching jackets.
All right, guys, it's going to be Satya and I on tomorrow, but your boy Joey Option is going to be back on Thursday with that lesson. So we'll catch you.
And hedging.
There it is, eh? Spreads and hedging?
Yep.
Love it. Guys, same bat time, same bat channel. Get it, Big Kunas.
Boy,
Toby doing?
I mean, every now and then, look, it's such a great floor that you got Joe lending his coat to Obi, apparently. It is, look, don't get me wrong, it's a little chilly in here, so you got to do what you got to do. Just be way to be a team player there, Joe. Obi just
feel my hand.
doing his things. Like, it's great. We had a meeting. We're in the boardroom. Like, oh, it's nice and warm in the boardroom. No, but my hands are absolutely freezing. But Bitcoin is hot. Crypto is hot. We keep saying crypto and Bitcoin.
The block is hot.
But